Palmetto State's 2025 Weekend of Champions culminates in the 5A Division I title clash between a couple of Palmetto State dynasties, Dutch Fork and Summerville. Well, I guess when you look at this one, you just say, let's do it again. And why not? Plenty of familiarity between these two. They were here in this spot a year ago. Of course, Dutch Fork continuing their tremendous run. Coach, we build it as a Midlands dynasty against a historic dynasty out of the Low Country in South Carolina. And I don't think too many are disappointed that we get another dose of it.
No, I think it should be an exciting matchup. Both teams are pretty evenly matched, and I think both want to prove that they deserve to be here.
A lot of history on the line tonight, and when you're trying to make some, why not have these two programs right there? Stacey, we look at the path that it took for these two teams to get here. Let's go ahead and walk through Summerville's journey. What stood out to you on their Farm Bureau Insurance path to a title?
Well, it was tough. They came Extra Ridge, an area team they're kind of familiar with. And, of course, it culminated in another team down that way, James Island, and then, of course, Stratford. All local teams they're familiar with, and they vanquished that last foe and got to where they thought they might be for the rematch against Dutch Fork.
Yeah, tremendous season for the Summerville Green Wave once again. And, Coach, we flip over. We look at the Farm Bureau Insurance, how they got here for the Upper State Champions. You know, they're in that swing region, Upper State Champions the last couple of years. How about the path for Dutch Fork?
Well, their path probably was a little bit easier than what Summerville had to fight through. And they certainly had a big challenge last week with Dorman. Dorman jumped ahead of them in that game, but Dutch Fork proved that they deserved to play Summerville.
Dorman's always been a tough challenge for them. They were down 10 in that one, came from behind to win it 30-10 with 30 unanswered. We move into the playmakers, and boy, hard to narrow it down in so many ways when you think about all the playmakers in this contest. But Coach, Jaden Kelly Murray, he's been special for Summerville.
He certainly is, and he actually is a two-way player. You don't see that quite as often at the 5A level. He caught 68 passes for over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns, and also he plays safety for him as well. So expect number 4 to be a big impact in this game.
Stacey, Julian Walker made the home folks proud this week.
Absolutely.
Big news coming out of that, and he's a key player on the Dutch Fork D.
Recent signee for the University of South Carolina Gamecocks. Look at those numbers: 59 tackles, 19 tackles for loss, 10 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. But factor into those numbers, teams try to avoid him. So the numbers are great considering people spend their time game planning to not allow him to make plays.
For all the talk about their offense over the years, it's the D in Dutch Fork you focus on this year. That's been their strength along the way in 2025. Those are our A&I Fire and Water Restoration players to rely on as we break down the keys to this contest and what it takes to be successful. That stands as our Ingles food for thought. Go ahead and give us those for Summerville, Stacey.
Well, the future's today. This is the rematch. They wanted to get revenge from last week. They believe right now can start their run to a dynasty and protect what they've always built up as a hallmark program in the state of South Carolina. They want to keep Dutch Fork one-dimensional, and that'll help their defense play today.
Coach, if it's going to be title number 10 overall for Dutch Fork, what do they need to do?
They need to finish the task. They are a well-disciplined program they expect to be here every year, and also watch their defense. A lot of times Dutch Fork's offense gets so much credit, but they have a lot of playmakers on defense, so watch the defense come up big tonight.
A championship weekend in the Palmetto State wraps up with the 5A title game. It's the dynasties, Dutch Fork and Summerville, next.
After fire, water, or storm damage, it can feel like the heart of the season is lost. But for more than 50 years, A&I Fire and Water Restoration has helped families across the Carolinas reclaim life's most important moments. Because coming home isn't just about walls and floors, it's about memories and traditions. A&I Fire and Water Restoration, restoring more than property, restoring the moments that matter most. You can rely on A&I.
Have you been quoted for trench drain system to fix water intrusion? Before you compromise your foundation, talk to Foundation Solutions. We provide a more efficient, more cost-effective way to keep your basement dry. With 30 years of experience in Western North Carolina, we bring guaranteed work, financing options, and real peace of mind. Visit foundationswnc.com or call 828-768-2208.
When people come to us, they've been injured. They are now dealing with a big insurance company, a big trucking company, a company that, while they may say in their commercials they want to help you, in reality they're not there to help you. And if we're not there to do it, no one's going to do it. I personally hope you never need our number, but if you do, it may be one of the most important calls you ever make. 1-866-STEWART.
Your home is where your memories live, where you laugh, and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
The Summerville Green Wave, one of the historic powers in the Palmetto State, taking the field. They tangle with Dutch Fork again. The Silver Foxes are here as well. Time for the 5A Division I State Championship again. This time it'll cap the weekend. Time to check in as well with the field member of our broadcast team. Here's Claire Foley. Take it away, Claire.
Well, guys, like you said, Summerville and Dutch Fork, some of the most successful high school football teams in the state of South Carolina. It's been Dutch Fork as of late, 9 titles under the leadership of Tom Knott since 2013. When I talked to him before this season started, he told me that as talented as his group was, if he did not win a state championship with this group, he should be fired. But talking to head coach Ian Rafferty, an alum of this program, he was confident that his team would be here too. He said last time when they faced this Dutch Fork team in the state championship, they were just kind of happy to be here, but it's totally a different approach this time around. And as an alum, he's excited to try to bring back a state championship to Summerville for the first time since 1998.
There's a look at the head coach for the Green Wave of Summerville. You know him well, Coach Muldrow. Had him in a superlative contest in a all-star game a little bit earlier in his days, in your days, in his career. Now he finds himself at the helm of this program. We are ready to kick it off between these two. It is time for our initial 5A Division I Preferred Appliance Kickoff. Your trusted appliance sales and repair experts. And with that kickoff, we are underway between Dutch Fork and Summerville. They just did this a season ago. Of course, Dutch Fork coming out on top in a game that was closely contested into the fourth quarter. We'll recap it. We'll talk about it. We'll walk you through it. But first things first, let's get you ready for what you're going to see from these offenses. And the first one you're going to see is Summerville, Coach. What do you expect from the Green Wave offensively?
They will try to attack Dutch Fork's safeties. They worked hard this week on trying to run some seam routes. I expect them to try to attack the middle of the field with the passing game.
Stacy, we said it has been Dutch Fork's defense, the D in Dutch Fork this year, that has made the difference. Somewhat fitting that that unit is on the field for the first play. And here it is, going to be a carry for Summerville, a positive one up across the 30, 10 yards plus, and we get our initial 1-800-GOT-JUNK first down as Summerville keeps it on the ground. Stacy, walk us through Summerville offensively as we see their starting unit on the screen.
Stafford transferred in from IMG. Williams with that big run you just saw. Gaskins a tight end. The wide receivers, Jaden Kelly Murray. Everybody's All-American at wide receiver. We'll get the rest of those guys in a moment. They're going quick.
They are ready to roll in this state championship game. That's the Adventure Children's Museum starting lineups on the Summerville side of things. Defensively for Dutch Fork, we were talking about just a moment ago, Stacy. Dutch Fork's defense has been what has carried this team this year.
Yeah, they kind of held them together as the season's going on. That's that defense there. Walker, the Gamecock commit, Colgrove, Cesario, a Shrine Bowl as well. Worth transferred in from Georgia, a defensive end. He's going to be special. Raleigh Salter's a stalwart in the lineup. He's been there 4 years in the program.
Here's a deep shot to get things going for Summerville, and it is in and out of the hands of the intended target. Jaden Kelly Murray, Coach, was an individual you talked about in the pregame. We saw Summerville try to get it in his hands very quickly.
He's a special player. He caught 68 passes this year. He's there 14 touchdowns and also is a two-way player for him. Here's
a look at just how close that was on the connection. And just out of the hands of the intended target, brings up third down. By the way, we want to tell you those starting lineups you saw, the Adventure Children's Museum starting lineups by our friends at Adventure. You can see them in Columbia or Myrtle Beach. You can check out a whole lot more, adventure.org, where you find out about everything the Adventure Children's Museum provides. Here's the third down, quickly in that spot. This time the connection is made, and it is into Dutch Fork territory as they go right back to Kelly Murray.
They love to attack the middle of the field. They have great confidence of throwing the ball over the linebackers. don't be surprised if keep attacking that.
We've got a individual down at around the 30-yard line, one of the Summerville linemen needing to be tended to. Looks like Quinn Cook is the player shaken up just a bit. Gives everybody a chance right now to catch their breath a little bit, Stacy, after a fast start.
Yeah.
You look at this Summerville team, what a journey it was to get back here a second straight year, have another shot at the Silver Foxes.
Well, yeah, they new quarterback in, of course, getting their feet under them and coming out of their lower state. They had some stiff competitions, but this is a team that was on a mission to get back here. They thought they had a good shot, lost the quarterback early in the ball game. They wanted to get to this point to establish a point against Dutch Fork, who is the standard right now, let's be honest. And that's going to be key, that injury right there with Cook, because protecting Stafford is going to be big. I think the best chance Summerville have is Kelly Murray deep, and you're going to need time. So losing that big offensive lineman right there could be key.
You were of the belief that if Dutch Fork was vulnerable anywhere on defense, it was in the secondary?
Yes, and you've seen a couple. The guy, he was open on the last play. Before that, the prior play, he was open, just didn't corral the ball, but he was running free.
It has been the emphasis on this defensive unit for Dutch Fork this season. This is the unit, as we said, having led the way, holding Burns and Dorman both in their path here to the state title game to 100 yards roughly in each of those contests. We'll see what they can do against Summerville. Green Wave taking the football first. They're working right on that South Carolina State logo at midfield, and they will keep it on the ground across the 45 and just inside it on this carry. Coach, you had a chance to see both of these teams in practice this week. What did you notice when you were at Summerville?
Summerville was really concentrating on, like I mentioned earlier, attacking the safeties, trying to run seam routes, what we used to call skinny posts and things, attacking the middle of the field. Dutch Fork, I was so impressed with their defensive group. All their guys can run. They don't get as much credit maybe as Dutch Fork's offense, but they certainly can play.
Those two units going head-to-head to get our football game started. And here is Stafford flushed out of the pocket. He'll just get rid of this and sails it out of bounds. Third down is coming. That's the push from Dutch Fork. And Stacy, we saw Walker heavily involved a couple of plays ago. Julian Walker is going to be a big key for Dutch Fork, providing pressure all evening long.
He was, and this time it's his buddy. That's him. He got held, by the way. And then Worth, 44, who led the state of Georgia sophomores in sacks last season in the state of Georgia, came up, transferred as a junior, has offers from Penn State and other P4s, number 44.
The offers abound, the Shrine Bowl opportunities abound, the North-South opportunities abound on both of these rosters. When you have the kind of success they have sustained over the last couple of years, you're going to get that. Key third down coming here, Coach.
Yes, and they got a timeout here. I'm not sure what they saw. Want to make sure you have a good play call here.
We're going to break away as well. Underway now in the 5A Division I title bout. 9:47 on the first quarter clock. First touch of the football for Summerville. The outcome of the drive to be determined when you return to Orangeburg.
If you've been dreaming of a getaway, Columbia welcomes you to the heart of South Carolina. Here, you can expect award-winning restaurants on the same block as Hidden Gems, peaceful riverside strolls alongside rushing whitewater rapids, and days packed with world-class attractions and roaring crowds. This capital city is full of experiences just waiting to be made into your favorite memories. Plan your trip today at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
It would be the Dutch Fork decade. 10 consecutive appearances in this game. They're seeking number 10, all under Tom Knotts, who today can match McKissick and one other legend in South Carolina, W.L. Varner of Woodruff, in the all-time list. So it's a push for number 10 and a lot of history on the line between these two. Fittingly, it is Summerville on the other sideline. Here's a third down for the Green Wave as we go back to action after our first stoppage, and here's an initial flag. that will put a halt on this third down look. Coach, I got to ask you while they sort this flag out, on the backside of the call from the official here, I want to know what you saw in that formation. Here's the call.
False start on the offense. Penalties 5 yards. Still third down.
What'd you see in the way Summerville lined up here?
They were trying to spread the field, and then he brought the back into the backfield. Looked like they were going to try to run the ball. I'm not sure if they're going to change that up after this call or not.
Third down from behind the sticks now. They're going to call it 3rd and 13. They need the 37-yard line on the other side of the 50 as it snapped from the 49. More pressure, somehow able to escape it. That's tipped and picked off in the secondary. Well, Dutch Fork with a takeaway, and that initial turnover belonging to the crew out of Irmo, and taking it all the way down the near side inside the 30-yard line is KJ Dupree, who comes away with the first impact moment of the state title game.
I was told by somebody on their staff earlier today that 27 has held that secondary together. Only a sophomore. He's a big play safety back there. Probably their best secondary player late in the season, and he capitalized right there on that bouncing ball.
I think they heard your challenge a moment ago, and that secondary rises to the occasion. Yeah. They are the ones making the impact for Dutch Fork here on the tip drill. And Coach, sometimes you'll have that, but boy, can it change the early momentum of a football game.
When you throw the ball in the middle of the field, you got to be very accurate, because you got to get it over the linebackers and underneath the safeties, and that ball was sailed a little bit.
That was Summerville's first touch. Now Dutch Fork going to have their initial crack at it from inside the green wave 30. Our officials sorting a couple of things out here. We have not yet given you our officials. After this call, we'll try to pass them along.
Substitution infraction on White. Penalties 5 yards from the dead ball spot. It'll be first down.
Well, here's the officials walking this off inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. So they're ready to go quick. We'll walk you through the entirety of our officials here in just a moment when there's time to do so. But congratulations to the third team on the field as they get to be a part of this 5A title flash. Comes from the 23-yard line, right on the doorstep of what would be an initial Doctors Implants red zone chance, and Dutch Fork goes to the ground right away, and they'll push it right into the Doctors Implants red zone. And Dutch Fork offensively lines up like this. Stacy, who all do you highlight?
Jackson Knox, of course, Coach Knox's son, his first year as a starter. He's matured as the season's going on. Sheldon Shine, part of a running back committee. Stone Furry, Will Furry, son, the offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach at Carolina, and of course, that offensive line. They have a big bruiser on the offensive line. We'll talk about him as the game goes on.
Yeah, that is our Adventure Children's Museum starting lineup for Dutch Fork. Now let's look at the Summerville D. And wait a minute, got a flag coming in here that we'll have to sort out first. And while they sort this out, gives us a chance to tell you a little bit about the Adventure Children's Museum. It's all about play with purpose. Immersive, hands-on exhibits that light up curiosity for guests of all ages. A reminder, you can find out more about them at edventure.org. You can visit them in Columbia or Myrtle Beach. Edventure sponsoring our starting lineups. And here's the call.
Chop block on the offense. Penalties 15 yards from the previous spot. Repeat second down.
Now let's take a look at the Adventure starting lineup defensively for Summerville. Coach, give us a player or two you're watching.
Eli Presley, number 10. J.T. Williams, 18, and DeMarcus King, number 90, have all been involved greatly in the linebacker, defensive end spots for them. They expect them to make a lot of big plays tonight. And also number 7, Jordan Ravenel, they consider their best cover corner. He should be lined up on what they feel like is Dutch Fork's favorite receiver today.
Again, all our starting lineups brought to you by Adventure Children's Museum. We appreciate our partners there for bringing the starting lineups your direction. This second down from well behind the sticks. And Knott's a familiar name in those colors, going to take a deep look. And he's got a man wide open, nobody in the neighborhood to prevent it from being reeled in for a Dutch Fork TD. And they go right away to Kyle Fulton, and the senior wide receiver puts the reigning champs on the board.
That's a coverage bust. Something that played Dutch Fork early this season. Summerville on the biggest stage of the coverage bust. Wide up, he's so lonesome. He's writing letters home back there. He's lonesome. And just turned around, had plenty of time to adjust to the ball, and just fell into the end zone. That was way too easy and a perfect play call at the right time.
Well, big time takeaway by the secondary, the work that was done from KJ Dupree, and Dutch Fork makes it count with the touchdown toss to Kai Fulton, and the extra point as true as you would expect it to be. Fast start for the crew trying to string another championship together, going for 10 all time. They find 6, force 6. The extra point makes it 7, and Dutch Fork has the early advantage.
Hi, come on in.
Hi.
Okay, let's start by watching a short video.
Pills, it's really easy to get. It's scary. I knew a guy who died of an overdose. He took a pill from a friend. Stuff can kill you. His kid died.
Mess them up. Laced with fentanyl.
He just took one pill.
I love my mom. I don't want her to worry.
It's time to experience Columbia, South Carolina, a standout destination in the Southeast where everyone truly belongs.
We are much more than our state's capital and home to the University of South Carolina. We are a diverse, growing city with incredible art and history around every corner.
You may even see a few painters set up on a street corner capturing all the city's sights and sounds.
But no matter your passion, Columbia is the perfect location. Take a chance by calling it home.
It's all ready for Dutch Fork that will be a part of the Foundation Solutions halftime report. You want to stay tuned. You'll learn more about the South Carolina High School League. First half highlights coming your way, a whole lot more, all a part of the Foundation Solutions halftime report. And Dutch Fork turning to Kai Fulton after the interception from KJ Dupree. Just like that, the Silver Foxes, in an effort to become champs and stay champs yet again, are out front 7-0. This is going to work its way into the end zone. That's a touchback. Summerville will take over there. Well, our third team on the field has been busy, and there's a lot going on in this first quarter to the point that we've not been able to introduce them yet. Our referee is Max Melton. Our umpire, David Damari. It's the linesman, Frank Perry. Line judge is Rhett Powell. The back judge is Brad Tachuras. It is the field judge, Jeff Nettles. The side judge, Brad Smith. Charles Grissom, also along with Dwayne Ennis. Those are the individuals who are handling things in the Division I 5A state title game. And again, Coach, they've been busy already. We say it every time, but it's an honor for the third team on the field as well, because they earn the right to be a part of these championship environments.
They're rated just like anything else in life, and the best ones get here.
First down, Summerville, after turning it over on the most recent drive. Second touch of it for the Green Wave, and they'll go to the ground up across the 20. That's about all. The Dutch Fork defense closes it quickly. Stacy, let's take a look at our Palmetto Pride scoring summary. And when you think about this drive that Dutch Fork just put together following the turnover, what are the moments that stand out to you as we glance at the numbers from the Palmetto Pride drive?
A 33-yard reception is a 23-yard drive because they had a 10-yard penalty. That's what the numbers don't mention. A 10-yard penalty prior to put them in 2nd and 20 to go, and they just capitalized and caught them in the wrong defense at the wrong time. Coverage bust on the back end. Great throw by Jackson Knotts and a great catch.
Likely not our final scoring summary of the night. We'll probably have several, and they're all brought to you by Palmetto Pride. They are keeping South Carolina beautiful as the state's anti-litter organization. That's Palmetto Pride. You got another Summerville player, or is that a Dutch Fork player? I'm kind of blocked off from this angle.
Dutch Fork.
So we've got a Dutch Fork Silver Fox this time that is down. Looks to initially having, they said, grabbed his arm there. So we've got an injured player being tended to. And, you know, I'm with you, Stacy. Anytime you see all the limbs moving around, somebody in that spot, the last thing you want to see in this one. We had a Summerville player a bit shaken up earlier. He was able to move off under his own power. You certainly hope the same here. But the way the players are reacting on both sides, it looks like, Coach, this may be a bit of an extended delay.
It could be they bringing out the card, so usually that's not a good sign for them.
And an air cast. I think it's an air cast. They took one of that bag. It might be an air cast. I think we're definitely not going to show it, but kid is in a tremendous pain out there. We won't speculate on a number.
No, not at all, nor will we speculate on the nature of injury or anything else. We just send all our thoughts and prayers to the young man who is being tended to it right around the 20-yard line. Again, we got a Dutch Fork player, it appears to be. Stacy, your eyeballs are on that better than the angle I have, but it looks to be a Dutch Fork player that's down. And, you know, you see both staffs come together, and this is a reminder, Coach, that there's some things that are way bigger than football, even the rivalry piece of it, even all the excitement related to some of the things that go back and forth between programs like this. At the end of the day, football is a brotherhood, and everybody, regardless of the colors they're wearing or the glasses they see this one through, rooting for this young man right now.
And exactly right. And you see the Dutch Fork medical staff out there, but also Summerville was the first one on the field to try to assist the young man.
All right, we are being told the guys in the truck have a really good look at it, and Kevin passing along that it is number 50. It is the Dutch Fork linebacker, Raleigh Salters. You know, always seems to be a Salters in there for Dutch Fork, Stacy. That's a big part of what Dutch Fork does defensively.
It's been him this is his third year.
I know.
He had a big game. He had a big game last year. Showed up as a sophomore. He's a 4-year guy in the program, and he has a chance to get his 4th ring. And it looks like early 4th quarter action is going to be maybe it for him tonight. But we hate to speculate. But again, truck had a good view on it. They're getting him up, but he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, well, let's don't speculate. Let's just hope for the best. And you said it, as I mentioned, Salters each time. You know, you think about a Salters there for Dutch Fork. You think about what it has meant. And Raleigh Salters being helped toward the cart just a bit. You know, you see the toughness of these young men too, Stacy, as he made it a point to say, let me do as much of this as I possibly can myself.
Yeah, tough kid. Also a great baseball player coming from
yes.
the youth. He actually completed in the Youth World Series out of the Irmo area team that got national attention back when he was a youngster. He and the quarterback from last year, Ethan Offing, they were teammates on that baseball team. We talked about it on the broadcast last year. So he's a tough kid, and saw him at media day before we started our season out up here in the Midlands, and he was excited to come back and get this chip this year. And you hate to see that, and praying that he gets well, gets better, and he recovers from this.
Yeah, our focus on this young man, again, we send thoughts and prayers, and everybody here in Orangeburg and all across the state of South Carolina rooting for him. And Coach, this changes things in a major way now. All the energy that you build all day and all season to work your way into this moment, and now the coaches and players hitting the pause button a little bit, thinking about something that's way more important. The tough part about it is they've got to go pretty quickly right back to football here in a moment.
Exactly, and he's a starter, returning starter from last year, a Shrine Bowl player, so a very key part of their team, a major part of their defense.
You know, it's interesting. We saw this the other direction last year when the Summerville quarterback went down toward the end of the first quarter. They lost their quarterback Cummings, changed the complexion of the game. Of course, everybody rallied. They played valiantly, and this one was in doubt all the way into the 4th period. You would expect Dutch Fork to do the same without one of their leaders, but back-to-back years on opposite sides that we see a major leader go down for these teams.
And teams, you'll find a little bit about teams, a character. I think Irmo coach talked about it last night when they were down. You'll find something about the character when you have to face these moments.
Well, we mentioned it. Right back to football they go, and Max Stafford is back out there for Summerville. He's going to roll out near side. Tried to hit Jaden Kelly Murray once again. He was on the move. They couldn't quite find the connection, so it is incomplete. Stacy, what do you look for on the Dutch Fork defense beyond Salters? That's big shoes to fill.
Well, they always have a pack mentality. It's always been next man up. Their depth has been how you get to 10 straight championship games, because there's been injuries over that decade, so we know that they've overcome this before. They got to rally like Summerville did last year.
Yep. Again, shoe on the other foot in some ways, but a familiar and an undesired refrain. But we are back at it here. 3rd down coming, going to be 3rd down and 9. And Stafford tried to load up and now just looks to get away, and he'll only be able to reach the line of scrimmage as it's going to be 4th down and 9. Tremendous pursuit there, Coach.
Yes, Stacy mentioned this young man that transferred in, Jaden Worth, and he made the play here for him. A very big play on 3rd down.
Here, Cesario, who's a Shrine Bowl as well.
I was going to say, you got to give plenty of credit to Luciano Cesario. He was right there.
They got stars all over that defense, though.
Yep. It has been the unit that has made the difference for this Dutch Fork squad this season. Set to kick it away, Summerville. So the return man is at the 50-yard line. This is going to be great field position for a Dutch Fork team already up a score.
Good kick.
Boy, you thought so, but how about this booming kick? Tremendously handled by Hayden O'Rear, and that's going to push it all the way back to the 25-yard line. The kicking game can change the game, Coach, and we saw it right there.
He can, and we saw that last night. It was a big factor for Northwestern coming up with a block punt. Kicking game is still a third of the game. A lot of times, maybe not. It doesn't show as many glaring mistakes, but when they happen, it can really affect the outcome of the game.
All right, so much happening so fast at the start of this one that we really did not dial in, Stacy, on Jackson Knotts, who is at the helm of this squad. You got a Knotts at quarterback now. Obviously, that different from a year ago. He was in the backup spot last season. Now this team is his in 2025. He goes to work. First pass going to be incomplete, far side. But talk about the relationship. Tom Knotts now has his son Jackson Knotts at the QB spot.
Yeah, he talked to us on the field before the game.
Yes, he did.
It's very tough coaching your own son. And sometimes he mentioned you have to cut it off at the car and into the house. He said he talked to coaches nationally and locally that coach their sons and got advice on that. But Jackson Knotts was a lot more of a runner. His passing has got better as the season's going on. And he's starting to look the part, both running and throwing. He's got an offer from Catawba College. So people are starting to notice he's playing. He's only a junior.
Yeah, Coach, he told us on the field that Stacy was referencing that he harkens back to some great advice he received. You're a coach on the field and you're a dad at home, and trying to balance those two is how you get the job done. Trying to work something in the interior, but Summerville's going to have none of it. That is 100% blown up in there, and that is J.T. Williams. His name Joshua Williams. They call him J.T. Williams. He's a big part of the Summerville D.
He was returning starter from last year. He read the reverse and was slipped right through the hole and made the play.
First impact defensive play for Summerville belonging to Joshua Williams. J.T. Williams in there making it third down and well behind the sticks at 15. They need the 35-yard line to Jackson Knotts and the Silver Foxes. Rushing play across the 25 up to the 30, and then lunging for as much as possible the ball carrier. But it's going to be fourth down and around 5 or 6 once they spot this. Jackson Knotts, we were talking about 17 to 22, 137 yards last week as he ran for a TD in that one. An important part of what this team's going to do. But one of the best things he can do, Stacy, is turn around and hand it to Sheldon Shine, as he did here.
Part of a committee. Sheldon Shine has been one of the game guys who's stepped up. They lost their their main back. Cole Martin got hurt early in the season, the transfer from Chapin. He was their big back, so they've used a cadre of smaller backs to run it. We'll talk about Kyle Henry and others as the game goes on.
Now Quentin Wilson, some of the names will continue to come as we roll into this one. We introduced you to Jackson Knotts on that drive. He and the Silver Foxes to kick it away. This is going to bounce at the 35 and finally roll to the 29-yard line. That's where Dutch Fork will handle things, and that's where Summerville will take over. Again, this team, Dutch Fork, led to the title by Ethan Offing last year. And what a championship game that was. What were your takeaways from the championship game last year, Coach? What are your memories of that last meeting between these two in this spot?
Well, when Summerville lost their quarterback early, I was saying, well, how are they going to respond now? But they kind of rallied behind that. Even though Dutch Fork won the game, I felt like the people from Summerville were proud their team just didn't give up after they lost a starter like that.
You may remember Dutch Fork scored on 4 plays to go up 6-0. Summerville went on an 11-play drive, converted on a 4th and 15 to take a 7-6 lead. Green Wave led it 14-6 as it worked its way toward the middle stages this game a year ago. So a much different game than maybe you might think just by looking at the outcome and the final score of 35-21. But that was a contest where, guy we talk a lot about in this one today, factored heavily, Jaden Kelly Murray and some of the others. And Stacy, Jaden Cummings hurt in that contest toward the end of the first period. And Cooper Kafina came in, and the combination of Kafina at the quarterback position, who's still on the team, serves as a holder on this squad, and then putting Jaden Kelly Murray in the Wildcat is the way they worked their way through the rest of the game.
Yeah, they have some talent there with Jaden Kelly Murray. Does a lot of the ball in his hands, and they did enough to make it close throughout. It's a big play here, possibly.
Well, and think on it as we kind of wrap up a glance back at last year. It was tight into the fourth quarter before Dutch Fork ultimately made it a 35-21 victory in the 2024 edition between these two. Coach, walk us through what you saw on that last play.
Sebastian Lake came up and made a good tackle here. The wide receiver was trying to block him. He made a good stop. It could have been a possibly big play.
Sets up a big play here. Third down coming. Going to be third down and a long 3 They need to get up across the 39-yard line if they're to convert. Max Stafford and Summerville. He's at the helm of this Summerville program now. Of course, that young man we told you last year ended the first quarter, ended his career on those crutches, but was cheering valiantly on the sideline. So you got a new field general here as well for Summerville from a year ago. Here's the call from our officials on this latest flag. Well, he's working to get to the mic. There it is. So an infraction on Summerville that's going to back them up. Stacy, you go from a third and manageable to a little more needed now.
That could be a big penalty. That changes your play call a little bit, changes the urgency, and it puts Dutch Fork on their toes a little bit. Maybe a mandatory passing play. You don't want to be predictable against this Silver Fox defense. Empty set.
Closing in on 4.5 minutes remaining in the opening period. Dutch Fork had a takeaway, an interception in the secondary, followed by the game's lone touchdown. Now Summerville looking to answer. How about this? Here's Javen Williams. Williams, you'll remember last year, had a long run early in the second, which put this team up 14-6 in that game. He's making his presence known again, Coach.
It did. They showed 5 wide outs and had Dutch Fork spread out, and then he brought him back into the backfield and ran the ball.
They run it again up to the line quickly. You know, Summerville, Stacy, showing us that when things are going well, they want to use some pace.
They do. Twice they've gone to the quick snap, and that time it fooled no one. They got no gain on that play. Dutch Fork was ready for it. But Williams has looked good early in a couple.
Watch that from Summerville when they do come away with those 1-800-GOT-JUNK first downs, though. Reminder, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, the sponsor of our first downs throughout the course of this first quarter. When that happens, Summerville often ready to go quickly. Stepping back and firing away near side. Here's Kelly Murray, and he tries to make a miraculous catch. Instead, it'll be Dutch Fork taking it the other way. A second takeaway for the Silver Foxes.
Same guy.
And it is another dose of the same individual. KJ Dupree proving to be a ball-hawking defensive back in this one.
Dupree once again, Dupree for the deuce. And that's just both times aided by great coverage, and it was tackled. And he did a good job keeping his knee off the ground that time. He also is a reserve quarterback. He can play quarterback as well, by the way, I was told.
Multi-talented individual showing his skills in the state championship game. This is a nominee for our stop of the game, brought to you by Experience Columbia SC. And, you know, that's another occasion, Coach, where the tip drill was somewhat involved there.
Number 15 tipped that ball for him. They gave the safety a chance to make the play.
Yeah, that was Amari Harley getting the job done there. And take a look at this. Now doing something he's done a little more lately, and that's tucking it and rolling with it. Jackson Knott's going to rush it for a 1-800-GOT-JUNK first down. And Stacy, we have seen this become more of the part of the game plan of late for Dutch Fork.
Yeah, look at Jackson Knott's right here. We had him on our airwaves during the regular season in a tough battle against Ridgeview. It was tied up with 38 seconds in the game. He did that, pulled it down, and won that game with 38 seconds to win it 28-21 with his legs.
May not see it often, but you will see it in timely moments, and it results in a 1-800-GOT-JUNK first down here. Dutch Fork looking, you said, doubling the pleasure on the interception, looking to do so on the scoreboard now as they go deeper into Summerville territory. It's down to the 22-yard line on this carry, and Silver Foxes with 3 or 4 gained on that first down play. We work inside of 3 minutes remaining in the opening period. A couple of turnovers, a couple of interceptions by that secondary. I'll say it again, Stacey, they must have heard what you said at the start of this thing, because the secondary for Dutch Fork has risen to the occasion.
27 been inserted. He wasn't there at the beginning of the season. They moved him into the lineup during the season. He helped solidify that secondary. The sophomore came in, moved from behind, been a backup quarterback to a starting safety, and he's made a lot of difference.
And what you said right there, great point. One of the most important parts of it is he's got a lot of career ahead of him.
Yes.
Here is Knotts. He sees a little bit of room, but it closed quickly. Big 9-0 getting in there. Yes. That's DeMarcus King making the stop.
Right, and he's a returning starter from last year's championship game, has had 12 sacks this year.
Also a sophomore. Young talent.
Don't you love these young guys that are going to be around for a long time? They're going to grow up, get even more hungry as they work their way through their high school careers. Look at the size already. DeMarcus King already passes the eye test.
He'll be on somebody's list soon, for sure, if he's not already.
Good programs don't graduate.
Third down from behind the chains, if ever so slightly, at the 25. Not too tall, and that's incomplete. So a fourth down decision coming from just inside the 25-yard line with 1:41 to play. And Coach, you got to be impressed with what Summerville did to tighten up here all of a sudden.
They did, because with 2 turnovers early in the game, it puts a lot of pressure on your defense to try to keep them out of the end zone here, and you probably almost feel successful. You could hold them to a field goal.
Stacy, you've seen Dutch Fork in these situations. What do you expect in these type of fourth down scenarios in plus yardage?
Well, they can show some trickeration here now. They have a lot of versatility in their playbook, and they're not afraid to call anything. Everything's available for this Tom Knox offense.
Here's a fourth down. They need the 14-yard line to move the chains. Looking for a whole lot more than that. Over the middle and threads the needle for a touchdown. How about the job firing that in between the 2 defenders? And it ends up being a touchdown to Wyatt Warner, who splits the defense and doubles the lead for Dutch Fork.
I've talked about the maturation of Jackson Knox becoming more of a true dual threat quarterback. His arm is catching up with the leg talent. He threads the needle right here. He just a strike between 2 people.
Wyatt Warner found just enough room in between the 2 defenders, and you heard us say it twice, because thread the needle's the apt description, and all of a sudden the extra point is right up and through. That's Bradley O'Leary who puts a foot into it to make sure Dutch Fork goes from 13-0 to 14-0. A couple of turnovers and a couple of scores here. This is how the Palmetto Bath touchdown came to be.
Dutch Fork does an excellent job with their tight ends. Sometimes they use multiple tight ends in formation, and they attack you with that in the middle of the field.
Well, Palmetto Bath does a really good job. They're sponsoring our touchdowns along the way. You can check them out at palmettobath.com. We'll tell you a little more about them later. Let's look at the numbers from that drive. The Palmetto Pride scoring summary reveals 5 plays, 41 yards. That was like clockwork, Coach.
It was, and they have a lot of weapons. And again, they're not scared to throw to tight end. Sometimes people think of them only as blockers, but in their offense, they're a very important part of it.
All right, Stacy, Summerville getting ready to receive this forthcoming kickoff. And a reminder that all of our kickoffs brought to you by Preferred Appliance sales and repair experts. Want to hear from you after this one goes into the end zone about the need for Summerville to respond. This all of a sudden feels like a really important drive for the Green Wave, Stacy.
9 and 4 are your 2 numbers here. The 2 juniors who played well in this game as sophomores. We just talked about the running back, Jaden Williams, already had a big run in this game. And 4, everybody's All-American, Jaden Kelly Murray. They got to get the ball in this guy's hand. I don't know if it's a pitch or a short pass. He's a guy that can change the scoreboard and get you right back in it really quickly.
Tried to go over the top to him early in this one, and a couple of deep shots that have ended up being interceptions, and not straight interceptions, but balls that were tipped up and then picked off. And you credit Dutch Fork for doing the nice work in the secondary and then turning it into a couple of scores up on the board. 95 seconds remaining in this high school championship game from Orangeburg, South Carolina. The 5A Division I crown is on the line, and Max Stafford got to shake off a couple of difficult, again, not direct throws into the defense, but a couple of difficult moments that were tipped up and picked off. And he goes to work. Positive first down gain there. They do get 4 yards on the first down. And you'll take 4 yards on first down all night long, won't you?
You'd like to have more, but it gives you at least a workable situation.
Well, you know, they told me 3+, 3+, 3+. That gets you the sticks, right?
That's right. If you're disciplined enough to do that.
If you can make it happen. Here comes the second down play. And there's going to be more than 3 yards on this one, more than 4 yards on this one. In fact, there's going to be a whole lot more. Near side at the 50, and finally rushed out of bounds in Dutch Fork territory after the carry of the night. You called for 9 a moment ago. Javen Williams, who was a major factor in this one a season ago at the state championship environment, is again.
He's dynamic runner. There was a collision there with him and maybe a free safety, and he broke free outside.
Got to wrap up.
He had 4 touchdowns last week against James Island in the lower state championship game. That was a game that they won 45-16 to claim the lower state, and you see where he is already in this one with his good work tonight. And they hand this off to the 31-yard line it goes. There's another positive first down gain for Summerville. And Stacy, we were just talking about how the Green Wave needed to do something in response. The last thing they need right now would be another turnover. And, you know, you saw everybody scrambling for the football. Now, Dutch Fork's trying to sell it to the officiating crew that they came away with the football.
The whistle had blown, though. Worth came up
no real panic on that Summerville side, so it looks like the Green Wave are going to maintain possession. But just going to say, you're talking about how they needed to respond quickly. Boy, have they ever.
And 9 is going to be the guy. He and 4 can make the plays right. Watch this as the backup running back giving him a rest, giving 9 a rest. But right here, the whistle's blowing right about now, but they ripped it out.
His name is Cam Grayson. It was Cam Grayson carrying the football there for Summerville. And you're talking about the ball being out, but no harm done for Summerville. Green Wave land on it. And with the ball on the 30-yard line, a second down coming. The first period comes to a close. It belongs to the reigning champions, Dutch Fork, with 2 scores on the board. Much more of our coverage brought to you by A&I Fire and Water Restoration coming your way with the second quarter on the other side of the break.
Hi, Mom.
I've got an invisible junk pile.
How do you know?
When my friends saw it, I could see it.
Other people can always see them.
Can you make it disappear?
All you have to do is point, Mom.
It's gone.
Save $55 on junk removal. Book today.
We were tired of our old bathroom, but we thought remodeling was overwhelming and expensive.
And that's when we found Palmetto Bath. They brought their showroom to us with their no-pressure design consultation, making designing our new shower easy and fun.
And their employee installer was professional and efficient. He took out our old tub and put in a new walk-in shower. Thanks to Palmetto Bath, we got the shower of our dreams at a price we could afford.
Call today for your free consultation and tell them Megan sent you.
Junk pile.
How do you know?
When my friends saw it, I could see it.
Other people can always see them.
Can you make it disappear?
All you have to do is point, Mom.
It's gone.
Save $55 on junk removal. Book today.
All right, the Jim Hudson Automotive first quarter stats. Jim Hudson Automotive. Experience it once, you will never forget it. We didn't when these 2 teams met last year. In fact, here we are doing it again. Coach, I got to ask you, what stands out when you look at the first quarter stats between these 2?
Turnovers. Summerville's had 2 tip balls that Dutch Fork has turned into points. They are moving the ball, but yet they've had turnovers, and I think that you've got to stay away from that.
Stacey, I'm going to throw a couple of other numbers at you. Quick drives for Dutch Fork, 2 plays, 23 yards, 5 plays, 41 yards after the 2 interceptions. Those the scoring drives.
Those quick strikes, man, sudden change plays, they really struck like lightning. They have not sustained a drive thus far, though, and that's something you can point to if you're Summerville. They have not really moved the drive. Hadn't had to, though. That's the bad news.
It's Summerville that is on the march here. They have been impressive on this drive, and after they switch sides, the Green Wave going to work at the 30 on the other end of the field. This is met. Some type of adjustment from that Dutch Fork D as they handle it beautifully. Boy, right where he needed to be and right on time there is Mr. Worth again. I mean, we talked about him time and time again, Coach, and he continues to raise his head for Dutch Fork.
Certainly, he was a transfer in, as Stacy mentioned. He certainly made a couple of big plays already tonight.
You talk about looking the part. 44 looks every bit of a P4 kid that's getting highly recruited as a junior.
Just another of the major weapons on this Dutch Fork D. Remember, they're without Riley Salters, who left the game injured a bit earlier. But again, that depth there that Stacy talked about. Third down all the way down to the 26-yard line. Going to make it very interesting here as this is close to the marker.
Good run on that right side. Good job on the right side blocking that time for Summerville.
Now, how would you like to know what's rolling through the mind? That coaching staff on this fourth down, they're just going to line it up and sneak the quarterback over the left side. Works out well. It appears as if, at first glance, he got across the line to make. He did. That is our initial of the contest, Stewart Law Offices first down. We appreciate Stewart Law Offices, sponsors of our first downs in this second quarter of action. You can check them out, stewartlawoffices.net today. So Summerville on the march, down a couple of scores after Dutch Fork turned a pair of turnovers into TDs. And look at Javen Williams go. He's making a man miss and working his way out of bounds inside the red zone with this run.
He came close to the first down here. He's been a very effective runner for Summerville.
Well, they are solidly in the Doctor's Implants red zone. A reminder, Doctor's Implants empowering people through full mouth dental implants, the sponsors of our red zone all along the way in this one. Second down, very short. Playbook wide open here for Summerville as they're just inside the 15. Decide to go one more time to Williams, and Powell's still going all the way down to the 6-yard line, and that's more than enough for a first down, Stacy.
Dutch Fork playing that I got him, you got him defense. Somebody got to put him on the ground. That's a great surge by the offensive line. And look at the stick-to-itiveness of number 9, keeping those legs moving. Great run.
That is another Stewart Law Office's first down. Here they are, Coach, knocking on the door now. They're going back and forth between Grayson and Williams, and he remains in there. Going to get to give one more time down around the 5-yard line before he's stacked up this time.
Grayson looks more like a power runner compared to Williams, but both of them have been very effective so far.
Yes, they have. Quite a tandem for Summerville. Although the Green Wave needing to get it done now that the yardage to gain shorter and everybody bunched up in there, and you see the response from that Dutch Fork front. Here comes second down. Goal to go from the 6. Up top, back corner, reeled in beautifully by Jaden Kelly Murray. That's his first touchdown of the state championship environment this year, and the Palmetto Bath TD puts Summerville on the board.
Stafford made a beautiful throw to the back corner. The coverage wasn't bad at all, but he made a perfect throw.
Took his time, had a clean pocket. That's just a beautiful route and a beautiful throw. That's how you executed the goal line.
How about the footwork in order there, too? That was something special.
In high school, you only need one. Everybody tries to make sure you get 2 down, but in high school, just 1.
Yeah, it never hurts to have more than enough, right?
That's right. Make sure the official hadn't watched one of those other games.
Nate Beaver to kick it through the uprights, and 7 on the board for Summerville. Green Wave using one of their playmakers, a returner from state championship impact a year ago. Jaden Kelly Murray brings it in for the Palmetto Bath TD. A 1-score game in the 5A Division I title tip.
After fire, water, or storm damage, it can feel like the heart of the season is lost. But for more than 50 years, A&I Fire and Water Restoration has helped families across the Carolinas reclaim life's most important moments. Because coming home isn't just about walls and floors, it's about memories and traditions. A&I Fire and Water Restoration, restoring more than property, restoring the moments that matter most. You can rely on A&I.
Feeling disconnected?
That's it. We're unplugging. We're going to adventure.
Adventure invites you to unplug from the digital world and plug in to quality time with your family. Get your family's heads out of their phones and into vibrant, hands-on discovery, creativity, and immersive play to spark their imagination. Disconnect the devices and reconnect with your family and adventure today.
You'll want to stick around at the half. You're going to see a number of these impressive plays we've already witnessed as part of the Foundation Solutions halftime report. You'll have a special interview with a member of the South Carolina High School League staff, first half highlights, a whole lot more, all coming your way as part of the Foundation Solutions halftime report. Well, Stacy was saying a moment ago, Summerville needed an answer. Coach, boy, did they provide one there.
They did. They mixed up their run and pass game. And these teams deserve to be here. And you don't expect any type of blowout. We were a very unusual game last night, but I think tonight's going to be over.
Certainly played it close the majority of the way last time around. Preferred appliance kickoff going to be returned from the 20. Looked like something might materialize there near side, but it was eventually sealed off. 2-8 in there to make the stop, Stacy.
Yeah, good job converging that football there. First guy there, Prince Bingley for Summerville, but it shut down really quick. You got to come quick to close down that gap. Good blocking on special teams at first.
Here's a look at the Palmetto Pride scoring summary. 10 plays. They went 80 yards. Really, Coach, the first sustained drive we saw in the football game on either side.
Yes, Dutch Fork had their scores after turnovers. And here, Summerville kept the ball, gave their defense a little bit of rest by keeping the ball for 10 plays.
Both teams in it now with something on the scoreboard to work with. And Jackson Knott's back out there for Dutch Fork. He's able to swing this screen pass by a couple of arms that were thrown in the air. Flags come in as well, so there'll be much to tend to here after what looked to be about a 3-yard gain. And the way everybody on that Dutch Fork side is starting to backpedal, it looks as if it may be against the Silver Foxes.
The reverse skate right there, because those plays require a lot of discipline and blocking outside, and they didn't have it that time. That play never looked good from the very beginning. They were holding before the flag. That flag came very early, didn't it, Coach?
Yeah,
very early.
A lot of times on screen plays, you got to be disciplined, and sometimes people want to grab instead of just staying in front of their defender.
A great deal of conversation with that Summerville sideline. Here's the call.
Illegal shift on the offense. That penalty decline. Be second down.
That's why it was so early.
Summerville was pleased with the outcome of the play. They decided to say, nope, we're more interested in second down than we are backing them up here.
They were happy with 2nd and 8 instead of 1st and 15.
Speaks to the value of every down and the quick strike capability of these teams. A little bit of trouble. Summerville pointing as if there was more trouble for Dutch Fork. Plenty of movement.
Center had a false start with the ball.
What'd you call it just a minute ago, Stacy?
Prior to the snap.
Reverse skate.
Snap infraction.
Michael Jackson moonwalk.
On the offense. Penalty's 5 yards. Still second down.
Now they are behind the sticks. So they declined the first penalty. Didn't push them behind the sticks. Works out because Dutch Fork provides another. There you see the movement.
Yeah, and Brody Lorenzo, was a starter in last year's game, so he's been in the big moments. So
he had 6 pancakes last week to help this team work back here. One of the key major positive contributors on this squad. Keep this in the interior, read and snuffed out. They went Braden Johnson's direction, but boy, was J.T. Williams waiting.
That's one of the staples of Dutch Fork's offense. Summerville was ready for it. It's on film. They run that play a lot. The shovel pass, the fake reverses, the reverses. This is in there. That's in their playbook. A great job coaching that up to be ready for that play.
And if J.T. Williams can stay home, to Stacy's point, and continue to snuff that out, Coach, it changes things for Summerville from a game plan standpoint.
Well, it does, and looks like Summerville is kind of settling in the game after the turnovers. Again, that's why they're here. They're both very good teams.
3rd down. The line to make is the 34. A ways to go here. They'll call it 3rd and 15. End up loading up 3 wide receivers on this side to set up a screen. That blown up as well. Jordan Ravenel gets in there to snuff this one out.
Excellent play, and he was listed as their best cover corner, and he certainly snuck in there and made a great play.
Well, worked through some bodies to do it. Watch Ravenel go around a potential blocker, and it's now 4th down. Dutch Fork turned aside for the first time by Ravenel and company.
They're doing nothing to fool Summerville right now. They knew all that was coming right there. Great job on the defensive side, coaching them up.
One-score game, pretty good field position, it would seem, coming for Summerville. Return man is right on that South Carolina State logo at the 50. This is not going to reach that, as it will bounce at the 42, and Summerville will be set up on the Dutch Fork side of the 50, having scored the most recent touchdown, set to go back to work. Well, you know the history of this Summerville squad. This is a team in pursuit of what would be a 13th championship all time. If you're wondering about it, Gaffney has 17, 18 if you talk to the folks there in Gaffney, but they lead the way with a little bit of breathing room. Abbeville won their 13th a year ago. Summerville is searching for number 13 tonight, and we told you earlier, Dutch Fork is trying to join that double-digit group to make it 10. So Summerville, with a tremendous football history, going to work, looking to equalize in the football game here in the second. That's a quick hit, somehow able to stay on his feet. Jalen Pounds makes the catch, and he's got a first down. Moving those chains with the Stewart Law Office's first down. Stacey, that's a good job by both the QB and the receiver to make this happen.
Watch this shot. Standing there, looked down the gun barrel. He watched that defender come in his face, showed the bravery and courage. Good route, good throw, and momentum firmly in green and gold.
You learned a little bit about Max Stafford right there, didn't you, Coach?
Oh, I did, yeah. He knew he was going to get hit because it was a free rusher, and he made accurate throws.
Stands in there tough. That's Summerville style when you talk about all that athletic history for the Green Wave, and they are rolling like a wave in these moments, trying to come all the way back from a 14-0 early deficit. The flag is down, and here comes the call.
Prior to the snap, false start on the offense. Penalties 5 yards, still first down.
Well, Kevin said it in my ear, a little bit of an undertow all of a sudden when you talk about the wave that was moving. Summerville stayed just an instant there.
Love it.
As the guys in the truck up on the edge of their seats. And we'll say it several times tonight, but thanks to everybody. Camera people, those working graphics, our producers, directors, our executive producers here moving around, making sure everything works from Nashville and working hard for you here in Orangeburg and beyond this weekend. A large team of people making these broadcasts possible, and we appreciate them. They generally have better ideas than we do. We pass them along from time to time. Here is a first down play from well behind the sticks for Summerville. It goes inside the 30, and we're working our way just about to be inside 6 minutes remaining in the opening half. And I take your point a moment ago and kind of underscore it, Coach. It feels like this is working into a little bit of a rhythm now.
It is. I think Summerville is settling in. You know, the interceptions were maybe a little bit higher throws than he wanted, but they're comfortable with what they're doing now.
Green Wave rolling in, looking deep here, and a shot toward the end zone. Waiting on it, what looked like it could be the third pick of the night in that secondary, but not quite able to bring it in.
Strickland was in a better position to catch that ball than the receiver. It's 15, Amari Harley.
Yeah, that was Harley again. Harley looked like he had a line on it, but just did not end up with a football when all is said and done. Safe to say that Summerville dodged one right there, Coach.
Yeah, dodged a big bullet there anyway. And, we don't know if that changes any momentum or not.
Drive continues with a third down play. Important third down. 3rd and 14. They need the 16. Keep it on the ground. There's the 15. Enough for a first down. Move the chains. A Stewart Law Office's first down. Javen Williams again, Stacey.
The confidence in your offensive line and your running back to run it 3rd and 15, 3rd and 14 and get it, that's got to be a confidence builder.
After taking the shot toward the end zone, they go back to the ground, and that is another Stewart Law Office's first down. Puts us in the Doctor's Implants red zone once more.
It's 100 yards.
Already.
97 on the game for Williams.
Rolling out, Stafford steps in between a couple of defenders, and he's going to work his way back to the line of scrimmage. For a moment there, that was improbable.
Yeah, look, man, I tell you what, he had two really huge and fast defenders in his grill that time, and he managed to elude them. Watch the footwork to make a little something out of nothing.
Well, a pair of 12s at the quarterback position, both playing well, Coach.
Right.
And at times they've shown us that they can do what's needed with the wheels.
And I think if he could have looked back, 27 was coming across the formation. If he could have dumped it to him in the flat, it might have been a big play for his team.
Here's Stafford barking out the instructions to his teammates ahead of the second down play from the 15. Williams between the hashes into the heart and teeth of that defense. It's good for just a couple, perhaps. We're going to call it 4 after all. Once everybody falls forward, we cross over 4 minutes to play in the opening half of action. Dutch Fork scored the first 2 touchdowns after a couple of interceptions. Summerville trying to score the most recent 2 and even up things in the latter stages of this second quarter. Stafford rushed out of the pocket and sacked. Stafford taken down by Jaden Worth once more.
He was looking in the middle of the field. I'm not sure if it's a tight end releasing straight down the middle, but he was covered quickly, and Dutch Fork applied the sack.
Stacy, we know how talented this Dutch Fork defense is at all levels, but they've risen to the occasion without one of their leaders in this first half.
Ronnie Salters went out with that arm injury, left arm injury, and these young men, as this defense have really rallied. And I'll tell you what, this next couple of plays, or the rest of this first half is going to be very key. And I'll tell you why, because of recovery from injury.
Well, here comes a key moment right here. They're lining up for a 40-yard field goal. Going to put it in Nate Beaver's grasp. And from the left hash, Beaver has it blocked. It looked like it might be scooped to go the distance, but not quite able to grab the handle. Keeps it at 14-7. But the field goal chance, the field goal try is turned aside, and Summerville will have no points on this drive. We'll break away, come back with much more of our coverage of the 5A Division I title game. Our broadcast brought to you by A&I Fire and Water Restoration continues right after this. Dutch Fork's lead holding steady at 14-7.
The thing that makes me happy about my job is when I can look someone at the eye at the end of the case and know that I have made them happy, that I've helped them at a difficult point in their life. We've handled thousands of accident-related cases from settlement to trial. If you give us a call, we're gonna get on the phone with you. If we need to drive somewhere to meet with you to make your life easier, we're gonna drive out there and meet with you. You're the person who's been in the accident, you're the person that needs help, and at the Stewart Law Offices, we're gonna go out of our way to help you.
Our Stanley Law Group Player of the Game, as we have in each of these state championship contests this weekend. Before all is said and done, they are your injury law professionals. You can visit StanleyLawGroup.com today. The Stanley Law Group, sponsors of our Player of the Game. Mario Anderson, senior DB, getting in there and providing the disruption on the field goal try, and it kept it at 14-7, Stacy.
His brother was a running back last year for the team. He's now playing up in college, but he's been a key player of the senior this year.
Dutch Fork trying to double pass, but that's going to be thrown incomplete and out of bounds near side. Give us a chance to check in with Claire for a little more on the Silver Foxes.
Well, guys, it wasn't just a rivalry born out of this state championship game between Summerville and Dutch Fork last year, but an actual birth. I was just talking to one of the Dutch Fork assistants. He said that his wife went into labor during this game last year, and tonight they surprised him down on the sidelines. Little Sawyer is here in the crowd with us to witness, I guess, his second state championship between Dutch Fork and Summerville.
What a great story of interest, Claire. Appreciate you passing that along. And when you're born in this rivalry, you got to be here to see it, right? Congratulations certainly are in order. And, you know, this sport, Coach, we don't get a chance to talk about it a lot in the back and forth that happens with the X's and O's, but it's a sport of family. It's a sport that really brings people together, and stories like that remind you what it's all about beyond what happens between the white lines.
Exactly. To be a coach's wife, you got to be a special person to start with all the time they spend with these young people. But they're developing them, and I think the wives understand that, and they hope they can make an impact in these young people's lives.
Now, to all our coaches, administrators, teachers out there, a heartfelt thank you. To their spouses, a heartfelt thank you. You make the world go round when it comes to what we're doing here for sure, and make an impact on so many. Third down play delivered up across the 40-yard line. That's a connection made as they get it to Kai Fulton, who had the touchdown earlier, but he's going to be well short of the marker. And here comes a 4th down and about 5. So 4th and 5, Stacy, just up across the 40-yard line with 2 and change to play. Set the stage for us.
They're going to let the clock run down, and they're going to call a timeout and punt it. That's what they're going to do. And that's why they want to milk. They want to squeeze the last part of this game and not give Summerville a chance to score and go into halftime with a 7-point lead. That's what timeout's trying to do right here.
I could read Coach Knox's lips. Don't jump offside. In other words, let's let them try to jump offside.
Yes.
I agree with Stacy. I don't think they're going to snap it. I think they're just going to run it down and then end up punting.
Pretty clear instructions as they do try to draw them off. Speaking of family connections, he sends his son Jackson Knotts out there to do that bidding, but Summerville was not biting. Therefore, the timeout is taken with 1:40 left in the half. Gives us a chance to kind of reflect upon what we've seen here. Stacy, I'll start with you. What are your takeaways from this first half in round 2 between these two teams?
Ebb and flows, been some big plays both ways. I tell you what, the one team to sustain the drive has been Summerville. Dutch Fork has not put together a sustained drive, so that's something to hang your hat on if you're Summerville. But I think it's something to watch going into the second half, which team can settle down offensively and continue to just get first downs and chunk yardage.
Yeah, two plays 23 yards on the first touchdown, 5 plays 41 yards on the second after the 2 interceptions, and then 10 plays 80 yards on the Summerville drive. That's the difference in the types of scoring we've seen in this game. Dutch Fork will kick it, and it's going to take a hop at the 35, eventually be blown dead at the 33-yard line, and that's where they'll take over. 91 seconds with which to work. Coach, take us inside the Summerville huddle as they have 1:31 to play. The timeouts are there, a couple of them at least on each side. What do you see them doing here?
I would think they're still going to attack. We've seen them have a balanced attack. They've thrown 2 interceptions, but their run game has been good. Javen Williams, number 9, has been effective as a runner, and I don't think they'll try to throw it deep, but I think they got time to move the ball.
Stafford to this point, 3 of 9, the 2, of course, interceptions on the tipped balls. He's thrown for 41 and a touchdown. His long 19 thus far along the way. He fakes the give and will toss the screen to Jaden Kelly Murray, try to see what the playmaker can do with it. He's near the sticks, and as important as anything else, Stacy, out of bounds with 1:24 to play.
Only use 9 seconds. If you get a first down every 9 seconds, that'll do just fine for Summerville.
And Summerville's got 2 timeouts, and so they're not in a panic mode or anything.
Ends up being a Stewart Law Offices first down for the Green Wave of Summerville. A reminder, Stewart Law Offices sponsoring our first downs here in the second quarter. Over a quarter century protecting the rights of the injured. StewartLawOffices.net, where you can find out more about them today. Gave you Max Stafford's numbers just a moment ago. Can he engineer one more drive in this first half? Loaded up like he was going to fire away, and then eventually tucks it and will run out of bounds himself right at the 50. And flags coming in from everywhere.
Blindside block.
Yeah, blindside. Used to be a legal block, but now it's a safety penalty.
To the end here, you'll see it.
You mentioned safety penalty for the safety of all the players involved. It's about trying to keep everybody healthy and in the contest, and the officials gathering up, talking about it with 1:15 to go in the half.
Conversing. Trying to see how to adjudicate the malfeasance.
You know, the one thing we haven't said, and I know there'll be a call here momentarily, and it looks like it's coming. All the conversations that have to take place with each of the coaches first required. Here's the call.
Illegal blindside block. On the offense, Phillies 15 yards from the end of the run. Will still be first down.
We're going to show it to you right here. Fills up the middle of your screen, and that's something that his coach told you no longer can you get away with that one. One thing we haven't talked about yet, the weather. It's 48 degrees, a cool night in the Midlands here in Orangeburg. However, the rain having given way, that was such a part of this championship weekend. I know all three of us thankful these players playing. For the most part, there are damp conditions down there, but without that driving rain we've seen this weekend. Well, he had him coming at him from all directions this time, and Stafford is swallowed up.
You need to get rid of the ball quicker to save the big sack, and also perhaps a timeout. They may have to use a timeout here.
And it is Julian Walker who gets in there. We told you at the start of tonight's broadcast, Walker was a Michigan commit, but made the state proud this week when he decided to stay home in South Carolina, study right here in the Midlands. He'll be in Columbia, going to be a Gamecock now, and what a future he has. Julian Walker in there to provide the disruption. Second down, and as we have said many times this weekend, a country mile, they need the 45-yard line on the other side, and now it would seem Summerville's content to let that clock wind on down, perhaps head into the locker room down one score.
That sack changed everything.
Yes,
that changed the strategy, and they're going to go in the locker room. Dutch Fork gets the third quarter kick. So that was a big, I told you those last couple of minutes might be a swing, and now the first couple of minutes out of the third quarter will be a swing as well. The Dutch Fork score, can Summerville grab the momentum back that they had stolen earlier.
Well, the right kind of night under the lights on this Saturday evening at Willie Jeffries Field and Oliver C. Dawson Stadium on the campus of South Carolina State in Orangeburg. One half of the rematch is in the books, and Dutch Fork leads Summerville 14-7 at the intermission. Time to go field side. Get the thoughts of Tom Knotts, who's with Claire.
Coach, KJ Dupree with 2 interceptions. You blocked the kick. How important were those momentum shifts?
Oh, man, KJ's interceptions were big. You know, he had another one earlier in the year that was really big and switched the momentum in a game. That was kind of, that was a big change for us. And then the block PAT, if Shine had just caught it, he'd have scored. So it's a good football game, and they're very explosive. So that's got me worried a little bit. They've been able to run for some long yardage. We got to shore that up, and then we'll be all right.
When Riley Salters was being carted off the field, you told your team to go play for him now. What does that look like to you?
Well, he fractured his arm, and it's a bad fracture, both bones in his forearm. And he's a Shrine Bowl player, so we're a man short, but our program has always been next man up. And we've moved some people around, and they're doing a pretty good job. So, I'm proud of that. That's a tough situation. Riley's also one of our leaders. I really feel for him, not just for the game, but it was a really tough break.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, we're not used to seeing Tom Knotts quite that bundled up, but guess what? He still got the shorts on. His team leading at 14-7 as he chases a little personal and Dutch Fork history tonight, something we'll talk about as this one rolls along. We have reached the half, the Foundation Solutions halftime report coming up on the other side of the break.
At Palmetto Pride, we know we have a choice. The choice for a cleaner South Carolina. And it's the easy one at that. Don't litter. No grand gestures or heroic efforts here, but the outcome still has monumental impacts. When it comes to our state, every choice counts and every action matters. From the great outdoors to parks next door, from Main Street to your street. All it takes is a little bit of pride to keep South Carolina beautiful.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
You know, I'm a person too.
You're watching the Foundation Solutions Halftime Report. Foundation Solutions. It won't cost you to get a quote from us, but it could save you thousands if you don't. Call today or visit foundationswnc.com.
Hey everybody, thank y'all for tuning in to this state championship high school football game. Joining us today is our good friend all the way from Ingalls Markets, Miss Taylor Newhouse. Taylor, are you loving the game so far?
Absolutely, it's been a fun one to watch.
It has been a fun one to watch. Now, what are you anticipating? An explosive finish, I hope?
We always hope for an explosive finish, but definitely an interesting game.
All right, we got to talk at the end of the game then.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about high school athletics in general, because from what I understand, Ingalls Markets, y'all have had a long-standing and robust partnership, not just with our organization, but the entire community as a whole. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the dynamics of that partnership.
Absolutely. We kind of gravitate towards athletics because we feel like it's a great way to reach our communities, but we're with these kids all the way from that first day of elementary school all the way through college. So we're really following them, but athletics is a good way to bring it all together because everyone loves a Friday night football game.
They do indeed, including you and I. That's
absolutely.
Right. So it sounds like you guys really do bridge that link between academics and athletics. Am I correct to assume that?
Yes, definitely. We're there to support children through their entire educational experience.
Speaking of supporting children, y'all have people who come into y'all stores and end up working for y'all, people who you go to church with. I mean, this really is a tight-knit community. Is that right?
Absolutely. Ingalls is a beacon in all of our communities, and we love to get people in and out of the store, especially these kids that are working at our stores, our athletes and students in the schools that we support as well.
That's indeed right. Well, Haley, you know what time it is. It's time to get back to some football.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. We'll see you guys next time on Friday Night Rivals.
So, you gonna play this week?
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 You gonna play this week? You gonna play this week?
You gonna play this week?
You gonna play this week?
This week?
And welcome to the Ingalls Game of the Week as the Warhorses square off against the rival.
He's going in.
He's going in. Go, baby!
Ingalls, we're with you every step of the way.
We were tired of our old bathroom, but we thought remodeling was overwhelming and expensive.
And that's when we found Palmetto Bath. They brought their showroom to us with their no-pressure design consultation, making designing our new shower easy and fun.
And their employee installer was professional and efficient. He took out our old tub and put in a new walk-in shower. Thanks to Palmetto Bath, we got the shower of our dreams at a price we could afford.
Call today for your free consultation and tell them Megan sent you.
Report. Foundation Solutions. It won't cost you to get a quote from us, but it could save you thousands if you don't. Call today or visit foundationswnc.com.
Welcome back to Oliver C. Dawson Stadium on the campus of South Carolina State University. I'm joined now by the Deputy Commissioner of the South Carolina High School League, Charlie Wensky. It's been a wonderful, long, rainy weekend. 6 state championships in 2 days. What goes into packing all of that into 2 days?
A lot of work, a lot of time. It's just a lot of great people. South Carolina State is awesome to work with, and they've made everything happen that we've asked them to make happen. And then, of course, you got to rely on the schools to do their part in the community. So we do a lot of work behind the scenes, but the credit really goes to the people here and all the schools that come do what we ask them to do and just kind of make it work. And then we've got a great team that does the parking lots and the gates. So a lot of people and a lot of time.
2026, 2027 will be here before we know it. Changes on the horizon for any sports team?
I mean, we'll be doing realignment for classifications here in the next week and a half. So that's probably the biggest thing everybody wants to know about now. But we're looking at our sport calendars. We're also looking at, our realignments coming up. It's going to change everything. And then we're looking at, our playoff brackets and kind of how that falls. And do we need to keep taking 32, 16, 24? We got a lot of pieces working, a lot of irons in the fire. And, hopefully it'll make some better changes and keep making us better as we move into the future.
But hey, let's enjoy where we are right now. Still working.
All right, and we're dry.
We're dry. Still got the 5A Division I state championship second half on deck. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you.
After fire, water, or storm damage, it can feel like the heart of the season is lost. But for more than 50 years, A&I Fire and Water Restoration has helped families across the Carolinas reclaim life's most important moments. Because coming home isn't just about walls and floors, it's about memories and traditions. A&I Fire and Water Restoration, restoring more than property, restoring the moments that matter most. You can rely on A&I.
It's time to experience Columbia, South Carolina, a standout destination in the Southeast where everyone truly belongs.
We are much more than our state's capital and home to the University of South Carolina. We are a diverse, growing city with incredible art and history around every corner.
You may even see a few painters set up on a street corner capturing all the city's sights and sounds.
But no matter your passion, Columbia is the perfect location. Take a chance by calling it home, even if just for a day.
Couple of early picks, and they turned it into touchdowns each time. Dutch Fork taking a commanding 14-0 advantage, but Summerville has the most recent score, and one score separates these two in a rematch of the state championship game from a year ago. One of 3 rematches out of the 6 games here in the weekend of champions, and Dutch Fork one of 4 returning champions trying to repeat as it all shook out this year. Let's take a look back at the first half of action between these two, and you're going to see a lot of the defensive moments for Dutch Fork early here, Stacy.
Without a doubt, the deflections keyed both interceptions. They had guys there. The ball was thrown into coverage. A little bit offensive mistake, but opportunistic is Dutch Fork.
There you saw Dupree. Of course, they go to work here and get somebody in behind the defense. Works out beautifully as the first Dutch Fork touchdown, coach, belongs to Kai Fulton.
Yes, he was. Must have been a broken coverage because he was pretty much wide open and made a play in the end zone.
Then Stacy tipped, and guess who again?
Another tip drill interception, and both times the beneficiary of that was young 27 KJ Dupree. Dupree and me.
This is one of the best throws of the contest so far, Coach. We called it threading the needle right up the middle of that defense to the tight end, one of their trademarks, but Summerville came roaring back.
They did, and Summerville, kind of started relying a little more on their running game, and the quarterback made a great throw in the corner of the end zone to their best receiver.
And you know who caught it, right?
Jaden Kelly Murray, the man that seems to be always on the ball.
They had a chance to get a little closer, Stacy, but the field goal try was blocked. Dutch Fork able to get Mario Anderson in there to block the field goal. Here, how's the numbers shake out? What jumps out to you off the stats?
Well, Dutch Fork hadn't been able to run the football 30 yards, and to the credit of, the offensive line of Summerville, that 124 is huge. The 2 turnovers is the difference in the ball game. I think we can say that. Dutch Fork quick strike turnovers. Off the turnovers, this is going to be key, maintaining possession of the ball and not inflicting yourself.
Those are your Jim Hudson Automotive stats. Jim Hudson Automotive, experience it once, you will never forget it. We're experiencing this for the second time, a rematch between Dutch Fork and Summerville. 14-7 the score, Dutch Fork leading at the intermission. That's what's going on here. Let's send you to some highlight packages from around the country this season. This is what happened on Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals across all Sinclair markets. Some good ones to remember.
The best Thursday Night Lights and Friday Night Rivals highlights from across the country.
Ron, nice cut move and a hurdle. He's still on his feet. Are you kidding me? Caleb Ron, touchdown. Oh my goodness, what did he just do?
He will roll right, under pressure, still on his feet, trying to find somebody downfield. He's in trouble. He'll throw it to the back of the end zone. The receiver's wide open. Touchdown, McQueen.
Michael Henry got his field goal blocked, caught it, and said, look what I found. Touchdown. In one of the most bizarre football plays you will ever see.
Pressure, throws it downfield to the middle of the field. What a catch, coming up and grabbing the ball.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea it was one-handed that he grabbed that thing and hauled it in.
Another rush, they're going to throw the screen and it's intercepted. How about the big fella, Akeem Davis? Davis staying on his feet. Look at him go. Davis.
It's like a scrum.
They can't bring him down. Akeem Davis is still moving. At the 30, at the 25, he snuck out of there. Are you kidding me, Akeem Davis? He is in for the touchdown.
55-yard field goal from the left hash. The kick is up, and it is. It's good at the buzzer. Bryant is the hero for the Buccaneers.
When people come to us, they've been injured. They are now dealing with a big insurance company, a big trucking company, a company that, while they may say in their commercials they want to help you, in reality, they're not there to help you. And if we're not there to do it, no one's going to do it. I personally hope you never need our number, but if you do, it may be one of the most important calls you ever make. 1-866-STEWART.
Hi, come on in. Hi. Okay, let's start by watching a short video.
Pills, it's really easy to get. It's scary. I knew a guy who died of an overdose. He took a pill from a friend. Stuff can kill you. His kid died.
Mess them up. Laced with fentanyl.
He just took one pill.
I love my mom. I don't want her to worry.
They are really the ones who are on the ground and know what their students need better than anyone else.
They protect the fairness and rules of high school sports. They're here to look out for us. They're here to look out for what we love to do.
Our number one priority is protecting our players. That's why we're writing new rules for the sport and developing innovative educational tools that protect our athletes. This is player protection. This is high school football.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
Many people might go on to not play collegiately, but they can take a lot of skills that they learn and use it in their professional life, in their future careers. There is a direct correlation between how much work you put in and how much you're going to get out of that.
Summerville 14-7 as we get set for the second half of action. Of course, Coach Ian Rafferty knows this Summerville program through and through. He is one of them and now leading them, and has his team within a single score as we work toward the third quarter of action. Does she have it? And he is standing by with Claire. Claire?
Thanks, guys. Coach, momentum has been swinging between both teams. What's it going to take to get it back on your side and to convert it into points?
Yeah, we just got to come out and get a stop right here and get off the field and get our offense back on there and get moving. You know, it's a tight ball game. It's supposed to be like this in a state championship game. We feel good where we're at. Hopefully we can make it a four-quarter game and take it at the end.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep, thanks.
You saw him as a young man. Coach Muldrow had the opportunity to coach him in some of the superlative games here in the state. What are your takeaways about who he was then and who you've seen him grow into at the helm of this Summerville program?
He was a starting defensive end for us in the Shrine Bowl in 1993. And we actually, the squads were limited then. I think we had 33 players on the team. We had 3 defensive ends, and he started as a strong side defensive end. And I was tickled to death to see when he became the head coach. And I said, it's somebody I know from a long time ago.
So you got those close connections to Dutch Fork from a proximity standpoint. You got the close connections to the guy who's roaming the sideline for Summerville. It's a small game in many ways. Everybody's about a degree or two separated from one another.
That's true. And I want to thank all the different coaches that I got to visit this week. They opened their arms to me at practice and shared anything they had that may help us with this broadcast tonight.
Well, and I want to thank all our coaches, administrators, and teachers from all around the state. You are the heartbeat of what makes it happen. You can rarely come across somebody who a teacher or coach somewhere didn't change their life, certainly like the guy sitting between us. And we say a big time thank you as we go back to work in the third quarter. Second half underway with our Preferred Appliance kickoff. And up across the 25 to the 27-yard line, that's where it'll start. A reminder, Preferred Appliance, your trusted appliance sales and repair experts. That's Preferred Appliance, sponsors of our kickoff. Stacy, you were saying a moment ago, you believe this is a very important drive in the football game coming up for Dutch Fork.
Yeah, momentum is, I believe, is in the balance. And you heard Coach Rafferty say, you know, he wants to stop and get the ball back. His offense is explosive. Tom Knott said that as well. They want to get the ball back and see if they can tie this thing up really quickly and make it a new ball game.
Speaking of a Knotts in those Dutch Fork colors, Jackson Knott, 7 of 10. He's thrown for 57 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He is long 38 in the first half of action as you check the numbers for the young QB. This time with the wheels. We saw him do that once in the first half. It is a weapon he has at his disposal. And Jackson Knott's going to run for about 4 or 5 yards here to start things.
Yes, he's a threat as a runner and also a very accurate passer as well.
Of course, Jackson Knott's, as we told you in the first half, sharing a home with a guy who's patrolled the sidelines for this Dutch Fork team and has initiated this decade of dominance in the state of South Carolina. It's been the Dutch Fork decade in so many ways. 10 consecutive trips to this state title game. You know, but for a Gaffney championship in 2021, it would have been a run of consecutive titles in many ways. That breaking the string, so they're looking for a 4th consecutive in this one. But this is going to be a tough moment. Ball pops loose. Summerville forced it loose, and the Green Wave going to take this all the way for a touchdown to equalize. And look who ends up with the football in his hands. Jaden Kelly Murray. It's a name we're used to calling on offense. He comes away with the key defensive moment for Summerville.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, it's kind of unusual for a 5A program to have a two-way starter like this, but they certainly got him back there mainly for pass defense, but he was Johnny on the spot there picking up that fumble.
And that is a Palmetto Bat touchdown. It is also our Stop of the Game nominee, an experienced Columbia SC Stop of the Game nominee. And if anybody's going to stop, Stacy, the run that Dutch Fork's been on, it is one of the historic powers in the state. That dynasty from the low country that is Summerville, reminding everybody they're right back in it.
It would be fitting for them to stop 10 for Tom Knott to protect McKissick on that list of 10 with Willie Varner. It'd be fitting for them to do that, and that's how you do it. I remember I said momentum to the balance. It's wearing green and gold right now.
Well, it's Jaden Kelly Murray who ends up carrying this back. He was a factor a year ago, and 4 has done it again, making it 14-all in the early stages of the second half of the rematch.
Your home is where your memories live. where you laugh, and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise.
It's time to experience Columbia, South Carolina, a standout destination in the Southeast where everyone truly belongs.
We are much more than our state's capital and home to the University of South Carolina. We are a diverse, growing city with incredible art and history around every corner.
You may even see a few painters set up on a street corner capturing all the city's sights and sounds.
But no matter your passion, Columbia is the perfect location. Take a chance by calling it home, even if just for a day.
Defensive play to tell you that we'll have our defensive player of the game brought to you by the Bojangles Bash at some point in the fourth quarter tonight. Bojangles Bash, of course, the elite high school basketball showcase. It returns to Ridgeview High School in Columbia next week. Bojangles Bash will have 11 teams competing in 9 games over 3 days, including Jermaine O'Neal's dynamic prep. There'll be tickets and details available to you at bojanglesbash.com. That's going to be a lot of fun, and they sponsor our defensive play of the game.
I'm PA announcer there for every game of the Bojangles Bash ever. Looking forward to working there again. I've been the voice of the Bash for 11 years.
Getting set for our kickoff following the defensive moment that was provided by a guy who has grabbed offensive headlines more often than not for Summerville. And here comes a return up across the 20-25 and stopped at the 27-28-yard line. That is our latest Preferred Appliance kickoff. Preferred Appliance, your trusted appliance sales and repair experts. Well, you talk about experts. We raised a name just a little bit ago as we were headed to break. John McKissick. You can't look at these Summerville colors out there on the field going against the new green in South Carolina, the Dutch Fork green that has dominated of late, without thinking about Coach McKissick, a guy who set the tone, winning more games than anybody in the history of the state. Tom Knotts trying to join him with 10 titles all time. That's the top of the list. W.L. Varner of Woodruff is the only other coach besides Coach McKissick to win 10 titles in South Carolina across the course of their careers. Tom Knotts has 9. This would be number 10. It would put him in rare air with 2 South Carolina coaching legends.
Certainly would, and certainly he's done it as a, I would call it a transfer coming from the state of North Carolina to our state. But he's certainly an outstanding coach.
A handful of championships in North Carolina to go with it. West Charlotte, and then of course Independence, where he did such good work, had that long winning streak and rolled up the titles. But Stacy, this last decade here in South Carolina, putting him in position with those names that are considered legendary, the lore. I mean, you think about Coach McKissick, he won games from the Eisenhower administration, championship games now, from the Eisenhower administration to the Clinton administration. Won his first ones in the 50s, won his last ones in the 90s. I mean, you're talking about the standard bearer from a coaching standpoint in the history of this state. We're going to have a flag to sort out here, but I want you, Stacy, to speak to here in the Palmetto State, as Summerville comes to life while we're talking about him here, what he meant to football in South Carolina.
Now, McKissick's a legend. Generations. I once talked to him, may he rest in peace, and he once told me, and I'll never forget it, it meant so much to him to coach the sons and grandsons of his first teams and the generations of that Summerville community he got to touch. He said it meant a lot to him emotionally to watch the fathers and sons come up and say, thank you for helping me be better young men. So that's the thing. He was a staple in the community for so long.
Just legendary status as you get another look at the penalty. We lost him on Thanksgiving Day just a few years ago, right around championship time as he passed, but he will always be a legend in this state. Dutch Fork trying to make something happen as his Summerville green wave has stiffened its neck here. They will do so again as Knotts is covered up just across the 34-35 yard line. Big lift in this game. And Coach, before we venture on past that, you've got a great John McKissick story yourself.
Yeah, I was a graduate assistant coach at South Carolina, and Coach Richard Bell said that Coach McKissick maybe has a high school coaching spot open. So I called him, and he said, I coach linebackers. Can you coach offensive line? I said, no, I don't think I can do that. Maybe receivers or running backs or defensive backs. So, but was an honor just to talk to him, to have a chance to understand a little bit about the Summerville program.
Yeah, it speaks volumes from a guy who himself a legend in this state talking to another. And you think about this Summerville program, and we'll struggle to find words to encapsulate it. Let us just give you the years. Titles in 55, 56, 69, 78, 79, 82, 83, 84, 86, and 98 for John McKissick, and a guy who's under his tutelage and certainly following in his footsteps, getting the instructions there now. But that's quite a run over a long, long period of time in all those decades. Summerville coming to life in these moments, and there's a lot to sort out between these two coaches, but suddenly, Stacy, we got a 14-all contest, and every one of these calls becomes extremely critical.
Yes, we have drama going on right now. A lot of conversation between both sidelines. Not sure what that's about, but I tell you, momentum shifted a while back. Summerville has it. Dutch Fork trying to wrestle it away, but again, every snap becoming more important in a state title game. They all knotted up, and we're in the second half.
Well, it gives us a chance to dial in a little bit on what Coach Knotts is going for. The other guy we talked about, W.L. Vonner, Gaffney native, Woodruff legend, 56, 57, 65, 75, 76, 77, 78, 80, 83, and 84. The championships for W.L. Varner, those 10. And that's what Tom Knotts is chasing here. We've got a moment where the focus goes in on about the 25-26 yard line, as there was a major collision there, as Dutch Fork, what you thought was going to be somewhat of a routine kick it away, not so much here, Coach.
It looked like two people almost clipped him when his leg was in the air.
Just roughing his 15 yards.
You're talking about changing the complexion of this scenario.
On the defense, penalty's 5 yards. Result, first down.
Yep, the 5-yard variety of the penalty, but it ends up being a first down scenario as you see the contact.
Again, all punt rushers are taught to rush at a certain angle in front of the ball, and not to run into the kicker.
And Coach Ian Rafferty trying to plead his case a little bit there, but it will leave the Dutch Fork offense on the field. That's one of those moments you circle, is it not, Stacy?
Absolutely. I just mentioned earlier, snap by snap, momentum is in the balance, and you can't give a good Dutch Fork team another set of downs.
Well, they're trying to do a couple of things tonight. We talked about Tom Knotts chasing those 10 titles. He would put his name alongside W.L. Varner and John McKissick if he gets the job done. Something else we learned about Dutch Fork, it would be the 300th win in school history if Dutch Fork is able to claim yet another state championship. And the battle of these two dynasties from one era to another continues with 8:37 and ticking downward here. Hard to argue with what he's built there at the Dutch Fork. And here comes a Knotts on the move. Jackson Knotts using the wheels, and he's inside the 30. You talk about what the Knotts family has done with their fingerprints on this program, what they're trying to accomplish, and here's the younger of the Knotts making his mark.
And that's what they're trying to do it threat. You saw the arm with a strike and the legs. He can do this. He can finish games. He seems to get stronger as a runner as the game goes on. Good job up front, too.
Dutch Fork takes advantage of the penalty, and Coach, they rescued that one there on a difficult snap.
Yeah, number 77 Ford was the leading blocker on that last play, left tackle.
Well, I'm going to say kudos to Quentin Wilson right there as well, because he reached up and grabbed what was a difficult snap, kept it from perhaps being disaster, Stacy.
Yeah, he didn't play much the first half, and I was told again earlier today by someone on the staff, he's probably maybe the most complete back. He's a guy that can run it, catch it out of the backfield, and run it. And you see they may use him more. He didn't really, I don't think he touched it in the first half. He's been active here in the third quarter.
Dutch Fork chasing a little history, as we've discussed here in this third quarter right now, chasing the lead once again in what's been a tie football game since Summerville's latest impact. Here's a second down and 10 and a full steam ahead inside the 25-yard line on this carry. What are you seeing from Dutch Fork on this drive?
They've really established the running game, and I think they feel confident. They've kind of swung the momentum back.
Dutch Fork preserving this drive with the scenario on the punt a moment ago, and now facing a third down right around 5. Trying to use the big guys up front to make some space. Summerville looks like they've stopped them a couple of yards shy, maybe 3-4 yards shy. It's going to be a critical fourth down, Stacy.
Big play coming up, and that offensive line, they're going to lean on them, but they're losing the trenches right now. Good job by Summerville winning the front 4 battle. tough fourth down coming up.
Yeah, guys like Washington, Hall, Javis King, Pryor, Greenway, Presley, they've been impressive up front. At times, this Summerville D, inspired of late, as we've discussed their history, doing a lot of good work in the present. How about the spin move? But it will not work him beyond the marker. Stopped at the 21-yard line, and Summerville has turned Dutch Fork aside with a turnover on downs.
So, one defender, number 90, came off the corner. DeMarcus King made a big play.
DeMarcus King certainly changed the running lane with his push up front, and then the cavalry came on the scene. Stacy, that's a huge stop for Summerville.
Yeah, that play was disrupted again. That's them winning the battles. They winning one-on-one matchups in the trenches, and that's usually not happening at Dutch Fork. But if you can do that, you got a great chance to stop their run. They're going for a four-peat, and Summerville looks like they're ready to snatch that trophy.
Summerville turning the tide here, and in the middle stages of the third quarter, the Green Wave beginning their work on the 22-yard line. We gave you the numbers for the QB Knotts wearing jersey number 12 for Dutch Fork a little bit ago. How about the first half numbers? 4 of 10, 52 yards, a touchdown as long as 19 for Max Stafford. What can you say about the way Max Stafford has performed in this one, particularly as he shook off those early challenges and has performed of late, Coach?
Yeah, after the early interceptions, he settled in, and I think the coaching staff did a good job of kind of going to the running game to kind of give him a little bit of break. Gain some confidence back.
Well, and remember, those were tip drill scenarios, so not completely to his account, but he will toss one out to Javen Williams here, and Williams is fighting up across the 26 to the 27-yard line. Here comes a third down.
There's a big play coming up right here.
Quick hit to Javen Williams, again, a guy who had 4 touchdowns last week in the lower state title game against James Island, a guy who last year had the run that put them up 14-6. He's trying to work with Max Stafford to put them up again. Much later in the contest this time around than a year ago, but Summerville on a drive looking for the lead. Pivotal third down. On the ground, couple of yards, still going to be about a yard shy.
Real good play by Julian Walker coming off the corner.
Just a tremendous, tremendous moment coming up here when you think about what's at stake. And you said it, Coach. Timely. Walker, whose name we've called regularly, Stacy.
Navy All-American game. Gamecock commit 6'6", but plays low with his pad level. So he's a guy who definitely looks the part of the next level player.
Well, this is a fourth down. And a little more than 2 needed. They need to cross the 31-yard line to move the chains. And standing out there looking as if there may be a little more to this drive. But I know I got 2 guys beside of me that aren't really buying it.
No, I don't think they're going to snap it right here. If they do, it'd be so gutsy. But I doubt they snap it. Timeout's going to be called, though.
4:16 on the clock as Summerville's drive has come to a fourth down from just inside the 30, all even up in the 5A Division I state title game. Much more of our broadcast presented by A&I Fire and Water Restoration coming your way after the break.
Have you been quoted for trench drain system to fix water intrusion? Before you compromise your foundation, talk to Foundation Solutions. We provide a more efficient, more cost-effective way to keep your basement dry. With 30 years of experience in Western North Carolina, we bring guaranteed work, financing options, and real peace of mind. Visit foundationswnc.com or call 828-768-2208.
We were tired of our old bathroom, but we thought remodeling was overwhelming and expensive.
And that's when we found Palmetto Bath. They brought their showroom to us with their no-pressure design consultation, making designing our new shower easy and fun.
And their employee installer was professional and efficient. He took out our old tub and put in a new walk-in shower. Thanks to Palmetto Bath, we got the shower of our dreams at a price we could afford.
Call today for your free consultation and tell them Megan sent you.
Stanley Law Group Player of the Game selection prior to the closure of our broadcast. Your injury law professionals, that's Stanley Law Group. You can visit them at stanleylawgroup.com today. They'll be the sponsors of our Player of the Game. Well, we don't even know yet who's going to win the game. Nothing settled as we work toward the end of the third period. 4:16 to play, and a fourth down for Summerville as they have the kicking unit out there. The punter, Hayden O'Rear, to put a foot into it. And this is going to roll inside the 35 to the 33-yard line. And that is where Dutch Fork will take over.
Was there a penalty there? Was it a delay of game maybe that forced them back 5 yards?
Took that right before we ended up on the break scenario that kept it from being a fourth that you even think about. They had a little more room to kick it away.
We never got an indication, though. We never
didn't see that.
I didn't see that either,
yeah.
but it showed a...
All we saw were the sticks move, right? In the end, you know, kind of by reading the tea leaves where it sits. Summerville turned aside after they ended a Dutch Fork drive in their own territory, and suddenly, Stacy, we're in a little bit of a back and forth here.
Battle field position right now, and that's pretty good field position at the 40 for Dutch Fork. Stalled last time they crossed midfield.
Jackson Knotts, some pretty impressive work in the ground game the last time around, and he's got some guys that can certainly do that with him. Quentin Wilson is the backup choice this time, and he's good for about 3.
Good job right there up front on defense for Summerville. They closed that. They look at potential. They really swarmed to the football, but they're going to put Dutch Fork in a situation where they're going to have to pass with another play like that. And Jackson Knotts, other than big scoring strikes, Jason has not completed any intermediate passes in this game.
And you think about the 2 quick drives early in the contest. I mean, those 14 points for Dutch Fork a while ago now, and both of them as a result of the takeaways by the defensive secondary. The defensive secondary, the headliners in this one. A little bit of trouble, it looks like, maybe with the clock that they are sorting out.
Yes. Fitting, because the last game of the weekend of champions, we have clock issues. The very first play of the weekend at noon on Friday, we had the game stop after the kickoff, if you're watching, with the clock issues. The very first play.
They just bookended it for you.
That's it. We just came right back around.
How about this weekend? You mentioned it. Oceanside claiming a championship once again. Bamberg Earhart back in championship glory. Northwestern dominant last night against Irmo. Of course, South Point and South Florence gave you an impressive run, a good one earlier today. And then Strom Thurmond, the Rebels, taking care of business against Hampton County. And now it all culminates in Dutch Fork and Summerville, round 2 of the dynasties that are on the field in this one. And backing up right now, the Silver Foxes.
On the offense, penalties 5 yards, still second down.
2-snap penalty.
Coach, a full season of football, you think about all the preparation that goes in it, not just for a season, but for a lifetime, and then you see that clock winding down toward the end of the third quarter. Begin to feel a sense of urgency on both sides.
Right, and both of these programs have been here so much. So to them, it's probably like another game, but for the players, it may seem a little bit different.
Yeah, no panic, but plenty of urgency. Little toss, and here goes Fulton. Remember what he's done in the passing game already. They use him a little differently here, Stacy. Boy, does it pay dividends for Dutch Fork.
And they got a good job. I told you, the sweeps, the end round, the flanker pitches, and the shuttle passes, that's a big part of their offense. That's a reverse that time, and good block by, actually, Jackson Knotts had a block on the outside there.
And we saw Summerville stop that a couple of times earlier, some of that inside game. Here, Dutch Fork has it pay off, but with a flag down at the 42, it looks like it's all for naught. It's going to be negated by the flag.
Yeah, Dutch Fork has hurt themselves with penalties in this game, especially in this drive.
Well, tracking that category in the contest so far, Summerville's been penalized 7 times for 45 yards.
Repeat second down.
As you hear the call there, Dutch Fork penalized 6 times for up over 40 yards now.
Sometimes on those slow developing plays, you know, holdings occur because it just takes a little bit longer to get the ball reversed to the wide side of the field.
A lot of it Knotts, quarterback.
Ends up making it a second down in a while here. They're going to need the 50-yard line. Need to cross over onto the Summerville side of the 50 to move the chains. Gonna swing a pass out near side. Here's Shine. He's going to make a man miss at the 40, but just across it, he's met with a host of white Summerville jerseys. That's back around the original line of scrimmage here, and it's going to make it a little more manageable all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's got a little chunk over there, but still, it's going to put him in passing situation. Take a look right here. Clear it out. Did a good job clearing it out for him over there. Had to make a man miss. It could not do that. Good job by 10 for Summerville, y'all. That was Eli Presley on him like a hound dog.
Yeah, and Presley had plenty of help come in there once he worked just by him. He got the job done for sure.
They would appreciate that in Memphis.
There you go.
He's third. Well, you got to invoke the king at some point, right?
Absolutely.
He's got to make an appearance at some point along the way. Here comes a third down. And they go back Fulton's direction. He goes to the turf, but does a nice job bringing this one in the breadbasket.
He does. A little bit low throw, but he made a good adjustment and made the catch.
1-800 got junk first down secured. You give Fulton all the credit there. Remember, Kai Fulton had the touchdown reception earlier in the game, and he has a first down reception here, keeping the drive alive for Dutch Fork. Now on the Summerville side of the 50, and here comes Knotts right up the seam, and he's still struggling forward inside the 30-yard line. What a gutsy run by Jackson Knotts right here.
And I'll tell you what, that's a good job, that left side of the offensive line. Violent tackle at the end. We have a Summerville player down, but watch this run. Protected the ball.
Yeah, that's job numero uno, is it not, Coach? Make sure you hang on.
Hold on tight
to the football, and he does. We got
he's going off the field.
A Summerville player working his way to the far side. That looks to be J. Caden Pendergrass, perhaps. That was a little shaken up on the play, but he's leaving under his own power, which is a good sign. Inside 2 minutes to go in the third quarter of action. Now remember, the score a little bit deceptive last year, Stacy.
Yeah.
This game was still in doubt going into the fourth quarter a year ago.
Absolutely was, and you could feel it in the stadium last year. It was still in doubt. It's going to be that way this year. That's what you want in a championship game, though.
Everything we could have hoped for out of the 5A Division I title game thus far. They're going to go the other way with it. Here's Johnson, and he's got all kind of room. He'll find the pylon for a Dutch Fork touchdown. They go Braden Johnson, and he carries it all the way home. That's a Palmetto Bath TD, and Dutch Fork is back out front.
Yeah, and they like Stacy said earlier, they do a good job of reverses, counters, and things that keep you off balance. They get the flow going one way and then reverse the field.
And how many different names do you have to call along the way in terms of weapons? Dutch Fork reminds us of that every year, Stacey.
They all do. They do everything by committee, Jason. Wide receivers by committee, running backs by committee. They shuffle a lot of players in depth as their calling card.
Braden Johnson getting the job done here. Bradley O'Leary puts his right foot into it. It is no good. A missed extra point. That happened early in the game a year ago. Didn't end up mattering in the end. Happening a little later this time around. Circle 127 on the game clock in the third quarter, and Dutch Fork only up by 6. And Coach, I hope if we have a few more scores here, you have in the back pocket somewhere that card that's going to keep us in touch with what these teams are going to need to do along the way.
We'll pull it out in case they left theirs at home. But the kicking game is so important. We've already seen a roughing the punter. We kept a drive going. We've seen a blocked field goal. Now we've seen a missed extra point.
Great points, Coach.
Even though this is late in the season, you think you'd have all those things ironed out. Kicking game is sometimes overlooked when you're a high profile. You know, you should emphasize that just as much.
That third phase, complimentary football, as they say, so important. Here's a look at our Palmetto Pride scoring summary. 6 plays, 60 yards on this drive. And, of course, Johnson on the 27-yarder to cap things. Palmetto Pride, they are keeping South Carolina beautiful, taking care of litter. Palmetto Pride is your anti-litter organization in the Palmetto State. Well, set for a preferred appliance kickoff. Your trusted appliance sales and repair experts, Preferred Appliance, sponsors of this kickoff for Dutch Fork. Been a while since Dutch Fork has kicked one off, but back out front and having never trailed in the football game, the reigning champions, the Silver Foxes, boot it back to Summerville. That's going to go into the end zone for a touchback. And the Green Wave trailing by 6 here. Well, we don't need the card or the information or anything else to know what Summerville would like to do. Go down, score. If they kick the extra point, they would be in the lead somewhere around into the third, early fourth, which is something they did not enjoy a season ago. They had the lead in the middle stages of the game, but would like to carry it a little deeper this time.
Yes, and I think they're comfortable on offense. I don't feel like they're struggling right now. Their running game has been solid for them. They have to be careful with the passing game not to have another turnover, but I think they probably feel comfortable on the sideline with what they're doing.
The 12-time state champions putting it back in the hands of number 12, Max Stafford, out there at the quarterback position for Summerville takes over once again from the 20-yard line. Stafford feeling some pressure, and he's going to be drugged to the turf. Not willing to allow him to get away, not even for an instant, is Walker.
Walker just drove the offensive lineman into the quarterback and sacked both of them. That's a grown man play. Watch the brute. This is a bull rush. Watch the brute strength right here. I'll take that.
You want to know why this young man has received so much attention from all around the country at the top level of this sport? You want to know why they're so excited he's staying in Columbia and is going to be wearing garnet and black? There's a snapshot. Julian Walker with his latest state championship moment. They go to Javen Williams. Dutch Fork was waiting.
Good play by Mario Anderson there on the corner. Came up and made a good stop.
Remember, he was the guy who blocked the field goal a little bit earlier. Would be a 2017 game potentially right now, and that extra point would mean just a field goal separating them were it not for his work earlier in the game state.
Great point, great point. The younger brother of, I mentioned Maurice Anderson, who was the leading running back last year. He's a little brother. He stepped up and had a big senior year for Dutch Fork.
Well, as we say in the Carolinas, third down, a country mile, 30-yard line needed to get the first down here. A ways to go, and more important than that, backed up in the shadow of his own goal line now is Max Stafford. He's going to look across the middle of the field, just decide to take what he can here, and he's across the 10 to the 11. But Summerville is in position now. They're going to have to kick this away from deep in their own territory. That is how the fourth quarter will begin. For the second straight year, these two dynasties meet in the Midlands for a state championship with nothing settled entering the fourth. It's the reigning Silver Foxes by 6 after 3.
After fire, water, or storm damage, it can feel like the heart of the season is lost. But for more than 50 years, A&I Fire and Water Restoration has helped families across the Carolinas reclaim life's most important moments. Because coming home isn't just about walls and floors, it's about memories and traditions. A&I Fire and Water Restoration, restoring more than property, restoring the moments that matter most. You can rely on A&I.
I got into my car. I started to back out when a Jeep hit me from behind. I heard about the Stanley Law Group through cutting Mark Stanley's hair when he was 5 years old, and he and his 2 brothers were my first 3 regular customers. I've heard Mark talk plenty of times about how these accidents are very trying on people, and that it's not about the money, it's about long-term health. I would recommend the Stanley Law Group because I believe they're men of their word.
It's time to experience Columbia, South Carolina, a standout destination in the Southeast where everyone truly belongs.
We are much more than our state's capital and home to the University of South Carolina. We are a diverse, growing city with incredible art and history around every corner.
You may even see a few painters set up on a street corner capturing all the city's sights and sounds.
But no matter your passion, Columbia is the perfect location. Take a chance by calling it home, even if just for a day.
Between these two dynasties, and what jumps off the stat sheet at you, Coach?
Well, you see now that Dutch Fork's leading in total yardage, but again, that turnover margin is 2-1. And we'll see how it kind of shakes down. Nobody wants to have a bad play or turnover in this fourth quarter.
Kicking it from their own end zone, Summerville. Little trouble on the reception of the punt for Dutch Fork. it will stay with the Silver Foxes. Everybody on both sides taking a deep breath right there, Stacy, to start the fourth.
They got a huge break right there. Ball, a muff punt, but the next turnover, I think, is going to cost somebody the game. That was almost it right there. And a defender had it, just let it slip away. That football is oblong and it moves funny, doesn't it, Coach?
It certainly does. And kicking game has been a little bit sloppy tonight. You wouldn't expect that, but because they know how to control the ball, and it's been a little bit weaker than both head coaches would like.
Neyland had a chance there. He was right there. Olin had to see the football for a moment, just could not quite fall on it. And here's Dutch Fork with the football after what you said could have been a decided moment. And after using that reverse so effectively earlier in the contest, you called it, Coach, little wrinkle here.
Yeah, they were faking it and try to get the flow going. And like Stacy said earlier, that's a very big part of their offense.
He did this quite a bit, and he pauses right there. I was told to watch for that tonight. That was Amari Harley.
Ends up being a positive gain of about 4, and second down is coming. We just placed the final 12 minutes of the 2025 high school football season up on the game clock. And we're trying to settle the 5A Division I championship. And Dutch Fork, team that has owned this 5A classification since it came to be nearly every year, all but one to be specific. And they find their way across the marker with another first down. That's a Stewart Law Office's movement of the chains. Stacy, this is a team that seems to find another gear when it matters most.
They really do. And I mentioned earlier, Jackson now seems to be a stronger runner as the game goes on. You got to be serious and intentional about getting him to the ground late in the ball game. He gets stronger, and he's going to bust one of these if they don't wrap him up.
Well, you know who he's going home with, and they're creating more family memories in the holiday season as we speak before your very eyes. And this time Knott's going to hand it off, and that's right into the pile. Good for a couple, perhaps. Coach, this fourth quarter, after what you've seen in the first 3, what do you see being so critical here on both sides?
Well, I don't think you want to have a turnover here if you're Dutch Fork, and I think they'll probably keep the game plan pretty simple. They still like to use their reverses and trick plays, as Stacy said, but I don't think they would take too many chances here with the lead and also on Summerville's side of the field.
Summerville team going for what would be a 13th championship all time. They pull even with Abbeville. Nobody in the state's highest classification with more except for Gaffney with those 17-18. And of course Dutch Fork going for number 10, and all of them coming across just over the last decade plus. And here is a stoppage before this one gets rolling. Second down at the 10:03 mark. We'll have to wait.
Movement on both sides of the line of scrimmage. See who they got, who did what, when.
He's pointing toward Dutch Fork. We'll see what it comes out.
Prior to the snap infraction on the offense. Penalties 5 yards. Remains second down.
Once more, our officials in this one: Max Melton, the referee; David DeMari, the umpire; the linesman, Frank Perry; line judge, Rhett Powell; back judge, Brad Teshoras; field judge, Jeff Nettles; side judge, Brad Smith; Charles Grissom and Dwayne Ennis also on this crew. And congratulations to that group handling things in this 5A Division I title contest. And clock
after a penalty.
It's winding down under 9:40. We get a little closer to the finish line in this one. Dutch Fork up 6 and looking for more. And here's Knotts. He pulls the ball down again, goes inside the 25 to the 23, and he met one of the playmakers on the other side. As Jaden Kelly Murray is the player who came up, Coach, and finally brought him to the ground. You're right, Stacy. He's coming out of there a little more gingerly than we saw a moment ago. There's also a flag to sort out once again, and the staff for Summerville standing right over top of it. It's at the 25-yard line. They've got
it's on them.
They're within earshot of what the news is going to be.
They don't look pleased either.
Nope. The body language tells you which way this one's likely to go.
Can you see the palms? Boy. So the palms up. That's a problem.
And you heard a challenge both on what just happened there with the officials close by, but to his team as well, knowing what's at stake in these moments.
Personal foul.
Targeting, perhaps.
Legal helmet contact on the defense. Penalties half the distance to the goal. First down.
How often do we see that when the quarterback is running, Stacy, and somebody tries to come up as he's going to the ground, the heads get lowered, and here they collide.
And that one might have been a shoulder. I don't know. That's on 4 right there. That looks like it could have been shoulder, Jason. We're not here to cheat the referees. That was close.
Jaden Kelly Murray and company now backed up as Dutch Fork has it inside the red zone. It's Knotts again. He's been running with it of late, and he's inside the 10. Flag's coming in here as he goes to the ground, and he took another big time hit. I know the emphasis is on the flag, but you've got to also think about the toll this is beginning to take on Knotts a little bit here, Stacy.
Tough kid. That kid's tougher than a $2 steak. Getting pounded the last one.
Here's the call from our official at the 9:06 mark. And you know from where that was thrown exactly what it's going to be.
Offense.
Yes, sir.
10 yards by the foul. Repeat first down.
He grabbed a guy around the waist, and so it's an open field. It's easier to see.
Taking a look at the way that thing ended. Another big lick, back-to-back big licks on Jackson Knotts. They've resulted in penalties initially that marched him a little closer to the goal line. In this case, that marches him a little further away. But for 2 plays that in many ways didn't really happen, he took some pretty good hits.
Yeah, they laying the wood out there. Both teams been physical all ball game.
So it is first down. The first down is available, by the way, but only down at the 2-yard line.
It's not happy.
So this is a 1st and 19. All of a sudden starting to get really late here with 8:41 to play in the state championship game. Dutch Fork is leading by 6 in an effort to keep the title in the Midlands and looking for more when you return.
Hi, Mom.
I've got an invisible junk pile.
How do you know?
When my friends saw it, I could see it.
Other people can always see them.
Can you make it disappear?
All you have to do is point, Mom.
It's gone.
Save $55 on junk removal. Book today.
It's time to experience Columbia, South Carolina, a standout destination in the Southeast where everyone truly belongs.
We are much more than our state's capital and home to the University of South Carolina. We are a diverse, growing city with incredible art and history around every corner.
You may even see a few painters set up on a street corner capturing all the city's sights and sounds.
But no matter your passion, Columbia is the perfect location. Take a chance by calling it home, even if just for a day.
A good portion of the chapters early on. Summerville in the recent decade. Dutch Fork, they are writing another chapter in South Carolina football lore tonight. Just under 9 minutes left to settle the 2025 state championship between them. And you think about state championships between them. I mean, the number of state championships between these two programs already up over 20 of them, and they're adding to it. There will be 22 state titles between these two programs. Whoever wins it, absolutely, just remarkable. And we still don't know who it's going to be in 2025. 8:41 to go here as Knotts awaits the snap after the timeout. Comes back his direction. He makes the catch inside the 15, is out of bounds at the 13. But remember, it was first and forever. So, Stacy, this is right back near the original line of scrimmage.
It is. And again, another one of those misdirection plays. They like do that. 29 will also keep it on that play sometimes, too. But good job catching and moving right here. By the way, they're in field goal range. A field goal makes it a 2-score ball game.
It does. Shine taking care of the toss there. And, of course, Jackson Knotts on the receiving end. Second down play. As the play clock was running down there, they tried to hustle to the line. And flags come in. Maybe didn't get that one off. We'll see.
Yep. Cool.
Now, some question as to whether or not Summerville had too many out there. Let's see what the call is.
Substitution infraction on the defense.
There you go.
Penalty's 5 yards. Hey, second
Move
down.
Dutch Fork a little closer. It was, in fact, a substitution infraction on Summerville. So you see him right there on the very top, right around the 3-yard line, was trying to get off, could not do it in time.
And Coach Knox noted that from the sidelines, so he rushed the team up to try to get the snap off while they had 12 players.
Speaks to how much every yard counts right now.
Great job as a coach.
Second down. There is a first down available, but it's inside the 3-yard line. This is going to be right around that territory. And now,
3rd and 1.
Depending upon where this is spotted, 3rd, perhaps. You said it there, Stacy, a long one. Dutch Fork quickly back up to the line. Clock winding to 7.5 minutes in the game. Knotts himself, he appears to have the first down, so they'll get 4 fresh ones with which to work right here on the goal line. 7:22 on the game clock. Dutch Fork trying to create some separation here in the 4th quarter. Clock comes to a halt with 7:22 to play.
Why did it come to a halt?
First down.
It temporarily stops the clock. Normally it starts back again.
Well, it's back. It's back going.
Okay,
yeah, it just came to a halt for a moment for the first down.
That brings me up to a point. They're going to massage this if they don't get it this first play.
Here comes the first down selection. Knotts sticks his head right through that line and into the end zone for a touchdown. And Jackson Knotts, on a night that could be a night of history for his dad, Tom Knotts, has the touchdown with 7 minutes even remaining in the game. And Coach, I just saw you reach for the back pocket. What are you trying to tell us?
They should go for 2.
Trying to make sure they have the maximum after the missed extra point a little earlier. Dutch Fork having created 26-14 the separation, and considering the play that will follow. So Dutch Fork ripping a page out of the playbook from a year ago, creating some 4th quarter separation against Summerville on a game that went into the 4th quarter a single score contest. Here's the Palmetto Bath touchdown run by Jackson Knotts. We haven't had a chance to remind you that often tonight. So many of these scores coming in quick fashion, but Palmetto Bath, they're the experts in fast, beautiful tub and shower remodels, serving Columbia, Greenville, and Asheville. You can learn more at palmettobath.com. Here's the 2-point try down near the goal line. Did not make it. What'd you see on the 2-point play?
Well, they have the option to place the ball anywhere on the field, in the middle, on the hash or whatever, and they chose the right hash, and they were sending a man in motion, trying to run a little pick play to the left, and it was covered, so the quarterback had to run.
The conversion is no good. The touchdown stands, and Dutch Fork has made it a 2-score contest in the 4th.
High school sports fans, relive your favorite moments. Just click the shopping cart below the video player to get your digital copy today.
You know, I'm a person too.
Limited time to answer all of a sudden. Our preferred appliance kickoff coming your way. Preferred Appliance, your trusted appliance sales and repairs experts. These two communities that are football experts in South Carolina continuing to collide here. Time left for Summerville, but there is a sense of urgency for the Green Wave now, and bodies flying everywhere as it gets real physical inside 7 minutes to play. For all that, there do not seem to be any flags on the field, so everything will shake out to a first down from around the 26. Here's a look back at that 9-play, 45-yard drive. Our Palmetto Pride scoring summary, and of course Knott's had the 1-yard rush that capped it, Coach.
And probably the key there, they ate up a lot of the clock. You know, only 45 yards, but that clock was running the whole time.
Stacey, you were going to make a point about clock management here. It becomes critical for Summerville.
Yeah, if they didn't get that touchdown, they got to start using timeouts. Anyway, they need 2 possessions.
So to have the 3 timeouts key for Summerville right now. They need to score quickly, be able to use those and get the ball back. Out of bounds far side after the toss and catch. That's Jack Burnett, tight end, who they used there. He's out of bounds up across the 30-yard line. So positive gain on the first play for Summerville. It was 14-0 after 1. It was 14-7 at the half. Summerville made it 14 all before Dutch Fork has scored 6 in the third and now 6 in the fourth to push back out front. Keep it on the ground. Dutch Fork's defense waiting at the 32-yard line, and that's where progress comes to a halt. We've called his name over and over again throughout the night.
Julian Walker, he's certainly an outstanding player. He's made play and play again tonight.
Remember, Dutch Fork doing this defensively, Stacey, without Salters, a guy who for the last 3 years has been a big part of this championship environment.
Yeah, key senior leader on this team. Thoughts go out to him.
Coach Knott saying they were playing for him after he went down in the early stages of this one. Ball swatted away. Nothing but Dutch Fork Silver Foxes there to scoop it up, and that may do it if Dutch Fork is able to turn this into a touchdown. Silver Foxes take it right away from the QB, and they celebrate as if it's over. A lot of time left, but that certainly is a big-time blow from Tom Knott's squad.
Look at that man right there, number 8. He's been the guy all year. Had a big game to end his junior year right here in this stadium. And watch this. Worth caused the fumble, and Julian Walker scoops it up. Hope they give him the credit for the touchdown.
How about that combo, Coach? That combo we've been talking about all evening long. They come together, one providing the disruption, the other with the scoop and score.
And both are outstanding defensive ends, and the 2 guys inside aren't too bad either. Colgrove and Cesaro.
That's going to end up being among the Adventure Play of the Game nominees. And now on to kick is O'Leary. Bradley O'Leary looking to make it 33-14. He will. Dutch Fork, visions of a year ago, pulling away in the fourth quarter once again with 6 minutes to play, up 33-14. Can't make it up. It's as if the script from a year ago has returned.
Yes, and they've been here and they expect to win. Their program is built that way, and they certainly perform in the big game as well as anybody.
Remember, that contest ended 35-21 after Summerville led at one point 14-6 in the contest.
Deceptive final scores, possibly just like last year. Very deceptive, because this game was very much in the balance. Suspense was in this stadium just a short while ago.
Now it's trending toward a historic evening for that gentleman, and a historic evening for this program. You think about the young nature of Dutch Fork as a school. We talk about the long history of the Summerville program, but they've already accumulated, if this goes their way tonight, 300 victories, and most of it coming across the last decade and a little more.
School's only about 30 years, 35, 33 years old. It's not been around a long time. They are the offspring of Irmo High School.
And as a power in the state of South Carolina, that's a result of the arrival of Tom Knott's, and all the good work in terms of state championships have come across what we've termed a couple of times tonight, this Dutch Fork decade that 5A football is living in right now. Here's the latest of our preferred appliance kickoffs. And coming out across the 20 to the 22-yard line, that's where Summerville will take over. Flag comes in at the end of this that will have to be sorted out. If you were not familiar with the history we've been talking about tonight, not only is Dutch Fork looking for its 10th title, they all have come obviously under Tom Knott's. So they would be one of a handful of schools in South Carolina history to win double-digit state championships. He becomes one of 3 legendary coaches in South Carolina history to have 10 state championships. He would join the guy who used to roam that Summerville sideline, John McKissick, and W.L. Varner of Woodruff. to that end. Here's the call.
During the return, holding on the return team. Penalties 10 yards, first down.
And, Coach, it's a conversation that folks will be having around the state. Never really believed you can get into a conversation of greatest of all time because not all eras are created equal and circumstances are different. But you can make no argument that he has dominated the state of South Carolina across the last decade, and this has been his time. He has set the standard in his time, Tom Notch, with what he's done of late, Coach.
And what's so impressive, he's done it at the top level. No discredit to anybody else at a lower classification, but he's done it among the best programs in the state.
Yeah, they created a 5A classification, and since they created the 5A classification, it's been Dutch Fork more often than not in many ways every time, except for one. You have the one hiccup against Gaffney, and that was back in 21 that separated the titles that Dutch Fork has won since the 5A classification come along. And since it came along, they've been dominant. Before then, we're already winning some. And it's because of this defense this year that they've done it. And here, the scissors close on the QB. And you know who it is one more time. We've been talking about him throughout the evening. Julian Walker, who's going to stay in the Columbia area. He's a future Gamecock, and he makes contact once more.
It's a grown man right there.
Both defensive ends squeezed pressure on the quarterback that time.
Third down coming for Summerville, and time wearing thin for the Green Wave now. Set up underneath, tried to get it into Jalen Pound's hands. He had a good catch earlier in the contest, but this comes off his pads and incomplete. With 5:04 to play, the clock stops.
Pounds has a bright future, only a sophomore.
Yeah, another one of those young players you'll see again in these type of championship environments.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Summerville, both of these teams right back here again. Both have long roads to travel to get here, but both of these teams are, stocked and ready with talent for next season too.
Coach, we're kind of trending toward what it looks like the scoreboard is providing here as we get into some conversations of what's been built on the Dutch Fork, what's been built there in Irmo, South Carolina with this Dutch Fork dynasty of late. It really is something to behold. Here's a catch. Jalen Pounds, they go back his direction. He has it this time, and that is a Stewart Law Office's first down. Move the chains for Summerville. This was a nice toss and catch.
It was. They're not giving up. They could easily say, well, we'll just punt and get on out of the stadium, but they're still fighting.
That was a had-to-have-it fourth down conversion for Max Stafford, and it results in the Stewart Law Office's first down. Has it up near the 30 at the 29-yard line. Clock dips inside 5 minutes to play. And that's incomplete. You've had a front row seat for what Dutch Fork has built across what we've called this decade of a dynasty. Put into words what it's meant, what it's done, and how it's changed the complexion of football in South Carolina, Coach.
Well, it is probably a standard that other schools are shooting to reach. When you get to the state championship this many years in a row, they're doing something right. And when I talked with the Coach Rafferty at Summerville, he said, I hope Coach Knotts will hurry up and retire so he can go around and speak to the coaches in the state of South Carolina to help their other programs in the state.
Just wants to pick his brain, right? See what he can learn from him. That relentless pressure continues. This time it is Hunter Colgrove, big 88 getting in there. He has his moment defensively for Dutch Fork. Stacey, we made this a point of conversation early in the game that this year it was the defense that drove Dutch Fork to success. Yeah. This is a reminder. The 2 early picks are a reminder. It is the defense that has set the tone for this team. Not that the offense is not still impressive, but it has been a defensive-driven Silver Foxes squad in 25.
Defense, especially the front seven, held this team together through the peaks and valleys of the season, and here they are in the final game playing big again.
Doing it today without Salters, but for Salters, who was injured earlier in the game. Summerville takes a deep shot, incomplete. A flag comes in at the very end of this play after some contact.
A little nudge, bang, bang, borderline. He did get a little bump there around the 40-yard line, Jason and Coach. So they're going to give him 15 yards here, I believe.
And the back judge made the call. He may have had a better angle because the side judge was running with the play. Right. Maybe there wasn't a tug from his angle anyway.
Pass interference on the defense. Penalties 15 yards. Remains third down.
You too have had a front row seat for what Dutch Fork has done here across these years that we're talking about. You got some terminology you use in relation to the tournament along the way.
Some people don't like it, but I call it the Dutch Fork Invitational. If you don't like it, you just got to beat them. That's all you got to just beat them. This is 10 in a row appearances. Dutch Fork Invitational. Look at this.
And looking for 10 total titles. And with the work of Walker tonight, they are inching ever so closer to it. You think about what he's done. Here all of a sudden is Anderson once again. You know, Anderson blocked a kick. He's had more than one moment tonight for Dutch Fork, and he's the latest to reach the backfield.
They brought him off the corner, and the left tackle really didn't have a chance with his quickness.
This is really fun for pass rushers right now. They know, you know what they're doing. You know, you got the game in hand. Just take this 10 off right now.
Pin the ears back.
Yeah.
See what happens. And timeout taken with 3:55 to play in what is now a 33-14 game. You know, make a point about one of the most impressive pieces of this when we talk about what Dutch Fork has done across the last decade. They're in a unique scenario of being in the swing region of the state, where sometimes you go lower state and you know where I'm going. Yeah. And sometimes you go upper state. They have rolled through the lower state bracket and won state championships. They have rolled through the upper state bracket and won championships. And it hasn't mattered where you place them along the way, Coach. They find their way to Columbia, or in this case, Orangeburg and the Midlands, to try and claim another title year after year.
And the thing that amazes me, they do it with different people. Each year it's a different crew, a different group of heroes. I know there are some returning starters, but a lot of these are new faces out here. I looked at the defense. I think they had four that started in last year, but that's 7 new guys that filled in on offense.
And now you're watching guys on Saturdays and Sundays that have come through this program, right? And you'll continue to do so as time goes along. Well, scoreboard has it 4th and 15 from the 24-yard line. Summerville converted on the 4th a moment ago. Can they do it again? Stafford once more running for his life. That's been the story in recent moments, and he will just heave this away.
The boogeyman 8 was in there.
As Dutch Fork once more provides pressure on the Summerville QB.
Guess who? There's that man again. 2 men, double team.
Double team and still makes him throw it away.
Does not matter.
And looking at Dutch Fork's offense, they returned 1 starter, the center. Everybody else was brand new players as far as starters from this game now. That doesn't mean they weren't very valuable players last year, but so they just, as Stacy says, they just reload.
And regardless of what side of the state line Tom Knotts is on, he finds a way to turn it into a state championship moment, as he's done here at Dutch Fork.
Called grounding.
Penalty 5 yards from the spot of the foul.
Lost it.
Will be first down.
As you know, that was 4th down anyway, so it was going to be Dutch Fork's football. So this is just going to mean a little closer to the end zone for the Silver Foxes now. And how special this must be. Not only we're talking 300th win, we'll get to that. We're talking 10th overall championship. We're talking 10 straight. But to do it with his son at the quarterback position, that has to, in many ways, be the cherry on top.
I was just about to say that. I saw him earlier. We were talking. He was talking to Jackson, saying, hold on to the ball. This is a Father's Day early for Tom Knotts, a Father's Day gift.
They'll keep it on the ground and struggling forward to the 1-yard line. Helmets begin to roll here after the carry by Kyle Henry. Remember, we've seen Shine, we've seen Henry here, Wilson earlier, so many different contributors.
Story about Kyle Henry. He was banged up and wasn't going to play today. Talked to someone at Dutch Fork. He told someone in the hall at school, I have a mentor. I promised I would play in this game. So he wanted to get at least a snap. He wasn't going to play at all. That snap was he wanted to show up for this game for someone he called a mentor. And that was the carry right there.
That's a window into the mentality of this Dutch Fork Silver Foxes squad. What a moment for Kyle Henry.
They may let him get a touchdown right here at the end of the game.
Knotts, they're looking for the one that would serve as the exclamation point of what is currently a 33-14 game, winding this down clockwise as far as they can. And just ahead of 3 minutes to play, carrying it on into the end zone. How about that? Moment for a mentor, you may say. Now, this is going to get a little testy on the backside of things, but, Coach, that's just a case of emotions bubbling over when there's so much on the line, and our official's going to get in there right away and begin to separate everyone. But, yeah, you talk about a moment for a mentor. Here's one for Kyle Henry as he turns it into a Palmetto Bath TD for Dutch Fork. It comes with 3:01 to play. It may very well be the moment that caps the scoring for this Dutch Fork squad with 3:01 to go. And Coach, what can you say? This was a contest that was in doubt going into the fourth, and Dutch Fork just continues to pull away.
They certainly did. They kept making plays on offense and defense, and I think probably Walker at defensive end was really the disruptive force.
It's a touchdown. After the play was over, personal foul on the defense. That's being enforced on the kickoff.
Emotions are running high.
As you saw, the action came after the touchdown run from Kyle Henry, and so it will be assessed on the kickoff that follows. And, you know, no longer it seems in doubt the ultimate outcome of this one. Let's stop for a moment and say what a tremendous season again for Summerville getting here.
Much props to Ian Radford and his team to get back and fight back. They came through injury and persevered out of that lower state bracket and showed up again for a championship, and they may be back again. They're deep and young.
You know, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but you look at all the state championships, and yes, there are 12 of them on the Summerville side, trending toward 10 of them on the Dutch Fork side. For some of these historic programs like Summerville, just as impressive how many times they've gotten here and ended up on the short end of it along the way. Really catches your attention. And take a look at this moment. These are the moments high school sports are made of as they share on the sideline of Dutch Fork just past the touchdown from Kyle Henry.
The guy with him, number 5, Cole Martin, transferred from Chapin. He got hurt early in the season. He was a part of this team, a senior. He played his senior year trying to go for a chip and got hurt 3 games into the season. And those are 2 guys that have kind of carried those guys, both banged up, and they're just with a moment commiserating on the sideline, still rallying the troops and getting the chip.
Think about what it means for Salters tonight. Yes. Think about what it's meant over the years for this team. I mean, you know, this is a group, they've experienced their ups and downs along the way, Coach, both on and off the field. That's the case when you have a program like this, but this is going to be a banner moment for Dutch Fork. They're 3:01 away from celebrating one of the more impressive of their championships and certainly their latest.
And it'll be special for Coach Knox because his son was a quarterback. That'll be a special memory for him.
Well, whatever advice he received, he shared with us on the field that he received some really good advice he's tried to take to heart about the difference in being a father at home and a coach on the football field. It has paid off to fruition as his team is moments away from continuing the trend, and you know, won't be long till they go back to work on another. That's the story of this Dutch Fork program, and that's what it really has become, a program here in South Carolina. There's the preferred appliance kickoff. It'll go into the end zone and a touchback coming for Summerville. Before we dial in completely on Dutch Fork, Stacy and I were talking about it a moment ago, but what can you say about Summerville's season, Coach?
Had a great, anytime you get to a state championship game, you are a lower state champion or upper state champion, and they've had to fight to get here. I think they've got a proud program. I'm sure they're disappointed because it was a tight game, as y'all mentioned earlier, that it looked like it could go either way early in the third quarter, but Dutch Fork just finds a way. They find a way to put games away, and that's why they're winning the state championship.
Well, you began to talk about football impact of the powers historically in South Carolina. Clearly, you're looking at 2 of them on this field, Summerville and Dutch Fork, and you try to put into some perspective what Dutch Fork is doing in these times. Just remarkable. Here's a toss over the middle. They get Davis involved as Teru Davis comes away with a catch. That's a first down. A Stewart Law Office's first down. A movement of the chains as Summerville, just as you would expect, continues to fight. But gentlemen, you start looking at this. Dutch Fork about to join just a handful of programs with double-digit titles in the entire history of football in South Carolina, which stretches a long way back.
Rare air.
We'll detail those for you. Woodruff with 10 of those. We talked about those. W.L. Varner, who Coach Knotts is on the verge of joining, along with John McKissick in legendary status with 10 personal titles. Woodruff has 10 as a program. Burns with 11. Remember what a dynasty they were at the start of the turn of the century. Summerville with 12. Abbeville picked up their 13th a season ago here in Orangeburg. And Gaffney with 17 championships all time, according to the state, 18 if you talk to the folks there in Cherokee County. Those are the schools, the only schools to ever win 10 or more state championships. Dutch Fork tonight is going to join that group.
And I think the thing that's more impressive, you know, they're a fairly new school. We may say 35 years old.
Yes.
Stacey, you might can help me on the number of years, but those other programs have won a lot, but they've done it maybe over 70, 80, or 100 years.
Well, and you can condense it even further than that, Coach, because all the championships have come in this century, just in the last decade plus. So the titles, the impact for the Silver Foxes, who will remain atop the hill in 5A Division I football, coming in the recent history of Palmetto State action. And here's Summerville, not going to go quietly into the night, of course. One of the great playmakers it's been a privilege to watch in his career, Javen Williams, has another long run, and he puts the green wave on the doorstep of further points here in the fourth.
It shows a lot of character to keep fighting. You know, things are not looking good for your team right now, but he's making a lot of plays tonight. He's probably rushed for close to 150 yards.
He's got well over 100 yards, as Coach told you, on just 20 carries in this one tonight. They'll keep it on the ground on that right hash right up the middle with 1:28 to go. Summerville inching a little closer to the goal line. Stacey, go back to what you were saying a little bit ago. This is going to be deceptive. When people look at these two meetings between Dutch Fork and Summerville, what you're seeing from Summerville right now is what we saw for 3 quarters in both of the matchups. Green Wave going to cap it with a touchdown on this occasion. There's still going to be some separation on the scoreboard. Those of us who saw it with our own eyes, those of you around the state who watched it, know just how hard the Green Wave fought, and they're still doing so down to the wire.
Yeah, very deceptive. They had this game, really the momentum, everything was in their palm of their hands going into in the third quarter, and just too much, you know, too many self-inflicted wounds, and Dutch Fork came up with the big plays they did too, like champions do.
With 1:07 to play, a Palmetto Bath touchdown. Reminder, Palmetto Bath, experts in fast, beautiful bathtub and shower remodels. They serve Columbia, Greenville, and Asheville, North Carolina. Learn more at palmettobath.com. What are they doing here, Coach? Going for 2?
No.
Shuffle it inside to Williams, but he is denied.
One thing I was saying, thinking about, though, that when roughing the punter may have swung a little bit of momentum in the game, because that kind of kept Dutch Fork going on a drive, and you never know when the field position is swapped like that. But so kicking game is important. Sometimes they're overlooked in big games, but penalties and kicking game is so important.
It was also a Knotts that kept Dutch Fork going in this one. Jackson Knotts on this occasion. They're getting ready to take care of Tom Knotts with that Gatorade. But we are going to go ahead and highlight his son, Jackson Knotts, our player of the game, brought to you by the Stanley Law Group. You see his numbers in this one. Some gutsy runs along the way, Stacey, to make sure Dutch Fork stayed out front. He was able to thread the needle when it mattered. Jackson Knotts, impressive in the state title game.
He showed the arm early, Jason and Coach, and he showed the legs late to ice it. He's done that throughout this season for his team as a junior, showing a lot of leadership and taking a pounding. He's a tough kid.
He's our Stanley Law Group player of the game. You can visit them at StanleyLawGroup.com. Jackson Knotts, just the latest of the honors going to the Knotts family and into that Knotts household. What a celebration it's going to be this holiday season for that group. You said it, Coach. Another thing you'll take away from this one, the father-son combo and what they were able to accomplish.
Right. They'll have good conversations over the Christmas holidays and things now. If they'd have come up a little bit short, I'm sure Dad would have been coaching him every day.
Now, he'll have to take a pause from the work for next year to get that done right. He's a guy who continues to say going right back at it
Monday
along the way on Monday.
He probably said in our post-game interview, he'll say we'll get right back at it next week.
You got it.
It's a year-round thing at Dutch Fork.
It absolutely is. Summerville trying to simply get the football back. They got a chance to do so, and here the Green Wave have snatched away a possession. Look who's going to have the football in his hands coming out of there. Jaden Kelly Murray has had a couple of great state championship games, Coach.
Yeah, and no surprise that he makes a play here to help him out, to give him a chance to score one more touchdown.
Well, that's mindful of kind of the tip drill scenario on those interceptions early that set the tone for this game. This one pinballs around until it finally ends up in Summerville's grasp this go round. Minute 4 to play, all that's left in this contest.
Knotts had backups in that last drive. He brings 8 and the rest of those guys back in for this drive here. He said that's enough of that. He brings the starters back out for this series right here.
20-point advantage, 64 seconds left in the contest, and you said it, some of those key contributors all along the way back out there. And this is going to be incomplete. That was off of his intended target, Jalen Pounds.
I just got a text somebody told me they're 9-0 against Summerville all time, 8-0 in the playoffs, and 2-0 in state championship games against Summerville.
Just remarkable when you think about it. And again, those key moments coming in the later history, because this being a newer school and so much of Summerville's good work done in the early stages before the turn of the century. So Dutch Fork being dominant in these recent times, those meetings trending the Silver Foxes' direction. This is out of bounds, just shy of the 43-yard line, and just a matter of time in many ways it seems here. 52 seconds and another flag as those supporting the crew out of the Midlands really beginning to sense it. There's going to be further celebration on the shores of Lake Murray forthcoming. It's been another remarkable run for Dutch Fork this season.
Yes, shout out to my guy Hank for that information.
This is a lot of discussion on this penalty. I think the left tackle got his helmet pulled off, but I'm not sure. He continued to block, and there might be a penalty for him continuing to block instead of a defensive player pulling his helmet off.
Officials got their hands full, taking care of business on every play down the stretch here with just under a minute to go in the contest, and here's the call.
Legal participation on the offense, continuing to participate after losing his helmet. Penalty's 15 yards. Repeat second down.
So a 15-yard penalty of the illegal participation variety. And with 52 seconds to play, that backs Summerville up on their side of the 50. Green Wave will have it at the 41. Point worth restating that not only is Tom Knotts going to come away with the historic moment tonight, not only his crew going to do some pretty impressive things, but for it to come against the familiar colors of Summerville, somewhat fitting in terms of what they've been able to accomplish in South Carolina and what this program means to it historically. Inside a half minute now, and Summerville giving you the kind of fight you've come to expect over the decades out of anybody wearing that Green Wave uniform. Another big time catch there as the Green Wave getting number of individuals involved. Trayvon Jackson, and here is a toss toward the end zone, and the clock comes to a halt with 7 seconds to play.
On the previous play, Coach Knotts was still coaching just as hard as it was the first play of the season. I think somebody had missed a tackle and was slinging her, the ball carrier around. He was fussing at him about not tackling.
Still doing it.
Well, he's already working for next season. Some of these guys are going to be back in teachable moments.
Look at the intensity right there. He's not pleased. He's pointing. Yeah, he's right. He's getting on someone, giving somebody the business right there. He wants to keep this score where it is right here.
It's at 40-20 with 7 seconds to play. And Summerville from just inside the 40, one more heave toward the end zone, still fighting to the very end, but the seconds roll off the game clock that Dutch Fork was waiting on. 40-20, the final. And Dutch Fork remains the Palmetto State's finest. A 300th win all time for the Silver Foxes as a program. A 10th championship, joining those elite schools with double-digit titles. And it's his 10th in South Carolina. Tom Knott's name now alongside John McKissick of Summerville fame and W.L. Varner of Woodruff. John McKissick and W.L. Varner, two coaching legends in South Carolina from the past, joined by this dominant Dutch Fork coach in the present, as Tom Knotts has his 10th in South Carolina and Dutch Fork has their 10th overall. Coach, when you reflect not only upon tonight in this victory, but also on Dutch Fork's run, how do you put into words what this Silver Fox group has accomplished?
Well, they've got the plan figured out, as Stacy has said many a time, and they're going to keep repeating that plan till somebody knocks them off. I think they've done a great job from their feeder program on up. Their strength program with Noah Dixon. their medical staff. And so they've got it all together.
All the pieces are in place. We're going to put together the pieces of some of the outstanding performers and performances from this one tonight. And there's much to walk through when you reflect upon the latest of Dutch Fork's championships in the 5A Division I now ranks. Let's go ahead and hand out some of those superlatives as these teams shake hands. Our adventure play of the game. Walk us through it, Stacy.
Well, there it is right there. You see the pressure of the middle always, and the star of the game, the Gamecock signee, Julian Walker, son of a coach, pedigree, high IQ, and God-given athletic ability. He collapses that pocket, scoops it, and scores.
Going to be a Gamecock headed to Columbia to wear the garnet and black, and that scoop and score. Our Adventure Children's Museum play, I should say, of the contest. Now there's a look at big number 8. Again, did this without Salters and for Salters, this defense that led Dutch Fork, the Dutch Fork dynasty. The emphasis on the D as the defense led the way. Time to hear from Tom Knotts ahead of the trophy presentation. He's standing by with Claire.
Let's go.
Coach, the 300th win in Dutch Fork history is your 10th state championship. You're now tied for most wins as a head coach in South Carolina history. What does that milestone mean to you?
Well, that milestone means I'm old, but where do y'all find these facts from? That's pretty cool, a 10th state championship in 300, so that's special. But it's a great tribute to those players, and we didn't have that many people, but we got a solid group of supporters, and everybody contributes to this program. They do.
Your senior class graduating with 4 rings. What have they meant to the program?
Wow, isn't that incredible? 4 rings. I don't think there's not too many people in the country that have done that at any level. So it's a special group, and there's 40 of them. So that's pretty much unheard of.
Julian Walker, the scoop and score. What a week he has had. Now officially a Gamecock. How special was that to see him finish that way?
Very, very special. I was a little bit worried about him because he was so distracted. Belichick kept him on the phone for an hour, throwing money at him, and it was just crazy. And he was so stressed out. And finally, after he announced it, he felt like the weight of the world was off his shoulder, and he did turn his attention to this, and just has been a marvelous leader, tremendous character. South Carolina got a great player in him, just a great guy to be around. If you watched him on the sideline, just an incredible guy to be around.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. Well, we just played a little bit more sound.
He talked about those 40 seniors. He put 40 on the board. The final score in this one, 40-20. And it's fitting that those are round numbers with a new front number, because the number of championships for Dutch Fork, Coach, now has a new front number. 10 of them, they reach rare air, becoming one of the programs in the state, and doing it in the modern era. They put together what is the Dutch Fork dynasty with a 10th championship all time.
Very special moment for their program. I think all those kids deserve it. They put in a lot of time, a lot of effort. Their families do too. And so I'm sure Coach Knott appreciates all those people contributing to this program.
He seemed to love the numbers. A 300th win, Stacy, that turns into a 10th championship. Just remarkable.
Yeah, anytime you're going to listen, Willie Varner and McKissick, that's great. But 300 for the school, that's he missing for him, and then doing it with his son. All that for Coach Tom Knotts tonight.
Just remarkable. We'll be back to wrap it on the other side of the break. Our broadcast brought to you by A&I Fire and Water Restoration continues in a moment as we put a bow on the 2025 South Carolina Weekend of Champions.
We were tired of our old bathroom, but we thought remodeling was overwhelming and expensive.
And that's when we found Palmetto Bath. They brought their showroom to us with their no-pressure design consultation, making designing our new shower easy and fun.
And their employee installer was professional and efficient. He took out our old tub and put in a new walk-in shower. Thanks to Palmetto Bath, we got the shower of our dreams at a price we could afford.
Call today for your free consultation and tell them Megan sent you.
The thing that makes me happy about my job is when I can look someone at the eye at the end of the case and know that I have made them happy, that I've helped them at a difficult point in their life. We've handled thousands of accident-related cases from settlement to trial. If you give us a call, we're going to get on the phone with you. If we need to drive somewhere to meet with you to make your life easier, we're going to drive out there and meet with you. You're the person who's been in the accident, you're the person that needs help, and at the Stewart Law Offices, we're going to go out of our way to help you.
This high school gym used to be packed most nights. Not anymore. Do you know why? Because bad behavior by fans, especially adults, has caused a shortage of game officials across the country. You see, without officials, we can't have sports. Don't let this become reality. It's time for a change. Let's bench bad behavior for good.
Our number one priority is protecting our players. That's why we're writing new rules for the sport and developing innovative educational tools that protect our athletes. This is player protection. This is high school football.
Dutch Fork doubles up Summerville, runs it to 4 in a row with 40 on the board, and the Silver Foxes have claimed a 10th championship all time. We told you that Tom Knotts, as he gathers his group up for the trophy presentation, has joined W.L. Varner and, of course, John McKissick, the winningest coach all time in South Carolina history, at least in terms of championships, with his 10th and the school's 10th in South Carolina. And here comes the trophy presentation. Game ball being handed off. We'll let you listen in as Dutch Fork is honored as 2025 champions.
Representatives will join the commissioners for the state championship trophy presentation. Accepting the state championship trophy on behalf of his team, head coach Tom Knotts.
Of course, you know Dr. Ross, don't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, your 2025 Class 5A Division I state champions, the Dutch Fork Silver Foxes.
It's been the Dutch Fork decade, and this dynasty has its latest championship. Dutch Fork joins Woodruff, Burns, Summerville, Abbeville, and Gaffney as the handful of programs in Palmetto State history with double-digit championships. Their 10th coming tonight with the 300th win in school history. Let's look at some of the moments from this one that stand out, some of the individuals that stand out. Here's our defensive player of the game. And Coach, those two picks early in this one made all the difference in the world for Dutch Fork. KJ Dupree had them both.
They certainly were, and good pressure on the quarterback. I think Dutch Fork's front four did an excellent job of pressuring him and gave those guys in the secondary a chance to make those plays.
He's our Bojangles Bash defensive player of the game. Check out the Bojangles Bash coming to the Midlands in the days ahead. You won't want to miss it as football gives way to basketball here in the Palmetto State. What a night for KJ Dupree. He is our Bojangles Bash defensive player of the game, and just one of many who made their mark on this one. Dutch Fork lining up for the pictures that will stand the test of time as they hold up four fingers indicating the four in succession, the four in a row that Dutch Fork has claimed in the 5A ranks. We said emphasize the D in Dutch Fork this year. because they've been led defensively. Here is our defensive stop of the game. And it's when Summerville was trying to close the gap with a field goal, and Dutch Fork able to get in there and turn it aside. One of the many moments for Anderson tonight when he was good, Stacy.
Yeah, he was good. He made plays on all phases of the game, really, but came up really big as a senior leader in this team right when they needed it.
That's our experienced Columbia SC stop of the game. 40-20, 14 in the first, 6 in the third, and a 20-point explosion in the fourth quarter. Yes, you heard it right. 40-20, and 20 coming for Dutch Fork in the fourth quarter. Another situation in back-to-back years where they pull away from Summerville, Coach.
Yes, and they've always been a good, solid second-half team. Sometimes they don't need to do that, but they know how to perform when the pressure's on the line.
And Stacy, this one they're going to continue to talk about for a while in the Midlands, but they won't relish it for a while because they're going to turn right around and get ready to continue building on the foundation that has been laid.
Coach Knox runs a year-round program, and they're going to be talking about getting back in the weight room and getting their off-season program going as early as probably next week, maybe 2 weeks from now. They'll be trying to build to get back here for 2026.
Well, congratulations to all the champions this weekend, and a big thank you to the sponsors which made it possible. Yep, they're going to have to dial up another ring, and they're going to have to find another finger to put it on if they go beyond the 10 that are covered at this moment. Here are all our sponsors. We appreciate A&I Fire and Water Restoration, Foundation Solutions, 1-800-GOT-JUNK, Stewart Law Offices, Doctors Implants, Palmetto Bath, Stanley Law Group, Adventure Children's Museum, Preferred Appliance, Palmetto Pride, Jim Hudson Automotive, Experience Columbia, the Bojangles Bash, Farmers Bureau Insurance, and Ingalls Markets, all proud sponsors that have made these broadcasts possible. I'll say it again. Also, thank you to all our coaches, administrators, teachers across the state. You make this state what it is. A heartfelt thanks to you and our fans. You are the reason we do what we do. Thanks for your love of this sport and all sports around the Palmetto State. For our entire crew, all the crews that have made up this weekend, working hard for you, those you've seen, those you've heard, those you didn't see and hear, everybody making these championships possible, we say a big thank you and congratulations are in order to Oceanside, to Bamberg Earhart, to Northwestern, to South Point, to Strom Thurmond, and to Dutch Fork. They are your champions for 2025. We'll leave you with the sights and sounds from South Carolina's Palmetto State 2025 Weekend of Champions. Thank you, everybody. Tremendous. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
I grew up where the world was simple and slow, learning right from wrong, work road. There was never plan B, just a path I'm taking, breaking on through on the road I'm making. I knew one day I'd get my shot, so here I am to give it all I got. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time. This is the big time. Ever since my boots first hit these streets, had to scratch and claw, made me hard to beat. They were real early mornings and late nights. Had to put in the time just to get it right. cause this is the big time. This is the big time, ready, set, go. Work so hard just to make this show. Under the lights, it's time to shine. Get your game face on, cause this is the big time.